NFL news, notes, and nuggets. Top of the 4 o'clock, we'll talk about Rojo and Bijan. Often, both of those guys getting rave reviews already in the NFL. We'll talk some Cowboys as well. Their new offensive coordinator giving us some clues and hints as to what the Cowboys offense will look like coming up this season. We'll get to all of that and more. Before we do, let's introduce you to the rest of the crew. He was a second-round pick for the Montreal Expos, but a first-round pick for the Austin Radio Network. He originally committed to the University of Texas, but decided to forego the 40 acres and chase his dream in the cheese. Pimping ain't easy, but for this man, it's a breeze. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Hardball Hard. What's going on, brother?
Man, it's a perfect day for hardball. We got a beautiful, beautiful day outside. I mean, you can't expect anything less than a great performance tonight as Texas takes on West Virginia at home with a chance to at least get a share of the Big 12 championship.
Give me some of that.
This is what the pressure's all about. This is what you sign up for. This is what happens when you come to the University of Texas. You play for championships, and that's what we expect to do. But let me talk about my man who, played a little bit for some championships around here as well. He hails from H-Town with the Get Down. He's a lifetime Longhorn and a proud card-carrying member of DBU. Legendary lifetime and now College Football Hall of Fame Longhorn Derek Johnson said he was the best cover corner he had ever seen. He's a former NFL DB that still has that passion for film study, but he's not a fan of white condiments. But, of course, he is a fan of you, the listeners. He is my man and yours, Rod Babers.
I appreciate the intro as always. Let's not waste any time introducing the real MVP, one of the hardest working members of the ARN family. He's got a hustler spirit, period. We don't know what he's paid, but we're sure that he's underpaid. It is Patrick Davis, y'all. What's going on, Patrick?
Oh, still just basking in the glow.
Basking in the glow, yes. So is Jimmy, or as they call him, Himmy. Himmy, Jimmy Buckets, playoff Jimmy, whatever you want to call him, gentlemen, once again.
Michael Jordan's son.
MJ's son. I know there's conspiracy theories now sweeping the Twitterverse and the interweb about Jimmy Butler. Could he be Michael Jordan's son? No, he ain't Michael Jordan's son, but he definitely got that dog in him.
He definitely got that
That's
dog.
what they got in common, is that dog. The Heat with a big win, 123-116 over the Celtics in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. We'll discuss that here and break it down. Hit us up on the Specs text line. Give us your thoughts, your comments, all of your questions as well, whatever you got to say. 512-337-3776. It also is a new Theme Thursday edition of Ball Don't Lie. We'll try to do better than we did on the midweek movie music edition of Ball Don't Lie.
No doubt.
It took Harge and I, well, at least Harge ended up getting it. It took us a little bit longer than expected to get the feature of midweek movie music. Shout out to Patrick for broadening horizons, but it was Roadhouse. Hopefully we'll do better with the new theme for New Theme Thursday. All right, let's dive deep into it here, gentlemen, because the Miami Heat continue to impress. You're talking about an 8 seed, guys. I think that's the best way to kind of frame it, right?
Yeah.
So that everybody said this is an 8 seed. Now, the Lakers also, you're talking about a play-in team coming in as well. So you got that on kind of both sides. But the Miami Heat, different story altogether because a lot of what they're doing right now is great coaching, great front office moves, and a lot of Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler, gentlemen, in the playoffs right now, averaging 31.5 points per game, 6.5 rebounds, 5.5 assists, 2.1 steals with 52% field goal percentage in the playoffs, and he kept it up in Game 1. 35 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, and 6 steals. Yeah. In a road playoff game.
Yeah. In Boston.
In
Boston.
In Boston.
Yeah.
There you go. No doubt. No, you're right about that. It was unbelievable. I'll give you this stat, and then we can kind of open the floor up here for conversation. Jimmy Butler had his second career road playoff game, gentlemen, with 30 points, at least 5 rebounds, at least 5 assists, and at least 5 steals. The only other player to do that twice on the road since steals have been tracked and calculated. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah,
MJ.
His daddy. His daddy. I'm that baby daddy. I'm that baby pappy.
Well, he plays like he got that dog in him,
He
man.
definitely does.
Yeah.
He definitely does. And when you got a chance to really watch it and watch him take over the basketball game, it's nothing that is forced. He doesn't seem to be that guy that is definitely give me the ball, I'm going to take the shot, give me the ball. No, he plays the basketball game. He just out-hustles everybody. And he makes sure that if we're going to lose, it's going to be a street fight. We're going to make sure we take it to you. I'm going to guard your best player, and I want you to put whoever you want on me because I'm going to attack him the entire time. And the other part about it, he was 9 of 10 from the free throw line. I don't think he gets enough credit for his performance at the free throw line as well, because that's concentration. That is definitely making sure that everything you do translate on the basketball court. But not only that, I got to give it to Spoelstra. I mean, we don't talk enough about what Eric Spoelstra does for this team. Remember, they had moments where Udonis Haslem was about to fight Jimmy early this year about the disrespect. He was like, put some respect on that man's name. And they came to an agreement, and obviously they've gone on to play well. But I saw this stat too, Rod, and I know you appreciate this. The most points by undrafted players in this year's playoffs is the Miami Heat. Undrafted players, 524 points by undrafted players. That goes back to coaching.
And the front office.
And the front office.
Coach Riley and Coach Spo.
Recognizing guys that aren't the name guys, but getting the most out of them. The ones that, as you like to say, got that dog in them.
Yeah, they got
a chip on them.
They got that junkyard dog.
They got it in them.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a culture thing.
Absolutely.
And I'll add to that stat just because it's a great stat. By the way, that is double the amount of the rest of the teams in the playoffs combined. Combined, all right?
Yeah.
In terms of the point total. But if you go look at the most points by undrafted players in the last 50 years in the playoffs, the Miami Heat in 2022, first, all time with 576. Miami Heat of 2023, third, with that 524 right now. And they ain't
even done.
They ain't done. The Houston Rockets, actually, 1981 Houston Rockets sandwiched in between there with 562. Shout out to the Mavs. You're fifth in the last 50 years. That 2022 Mavs squad with 372 behind the 1975 Bullets. So to your point, Harge, it is miraculous what they're doing. And I think that's more of a credit to Pat Riley in the front office, also Spoelstra.
Recognizing.
But how about this as a great kind of it really is a testament to how great of a coach Coach Spoelstra is. And you're right, we just don't give him enough credit. That third quarter, that Miami Heat scored 46 points in that third quarter. I think it was on 25 possessions. It was the second most efficient quarter of the playoffs for any team, period. And that's where they really took over the game.
Yep.
In that the Celtics never called a timeout.
Which explains a lot. Which explains a lot.
But here's the flip side of that. The Celtics went on a 7-0 run to start the fourth quarter. Spoelstra called the timeout 94 seconds into the quarter. He's like, nah.
We can see what's happening.
Yeah.
And so to me, kind of sums up this matchup. There are a lot of advantages on both sides, but the coaching advantage definitely on the side of the Miami Heat.
Yeah, and I mean, when we look at a team that, like the Celtics just haven't looked like that they've been able to turn it on at any given point this entire playoffs. That if they get down, there's no switch for them. And Miami clearly has that switch. And you can thank the Atlanta Hawks for waking them up, because Miami was supposed to be a 7 seed. They lost that 7-8 game that they were supposed to beat the Hawks in. And that's why they dropped to the 8 seed. But they dropped that one, and everyone goes, well, I guess the Heat are done. And they just got that massive chip on Jimmy's shoulder. He woke up and came out of hibernation and has been dominating ever since. But I think we saw in that second half, they have that ability, and Spoelstra has that ability to pull it out of them to go, hey, man, we need to play good. We need to play good. All right, we're not playing bad. Boston's a better team. They're more talented than us. And then at halftime be like, you really think they're that much better than you? You just played a half with them. You think they're better than you? Why don't you go out there and show them how much better you are? And they came out in that second half. And, like, this is where we talk about coaching, and you just brought it up, that not calling a timeout, not being able to just slow it down at a point.
Yep.
But just to go from up 9 to down double digits in a quarter, it just progressed. Like, it never seemed to be the tide turning back, and not be switching out rotations, not trying things, not trying to, hey, play more physical on defense. Hey, if they're shooting free throw, that's fine. We just need to slow the game down. We just need to get the game back in our control. Get Jason Tatum in the half court and let him do what he does. They didn't do any of that.
Nope.
They just let it keep pouring on them, looking around on the bench, seeing who's going to stop it. You're like, Coach, you have to stop it. And then you have to get them set back and calm again. They didn't do it until they got into the break, which clearly the break helped them because the quarter break, they come back out and start playing good again.
Yeah.
But they're just too far down then.
To add to your point, Patrick, Boston actually won the other 3 quarters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But they were so
Yes.
the third quarter, they were so blown out in the third quarter. It was such a lopsided quarter for them. It basically ended up determining the game. Here's a great stat for you. Before last night's game, teams were 30-2 in this year's playoffs when winning 3 of the 4 quarters. The only losses were Golden State beat the Kings and the Heat beat the Bucks, and now the Heat have done it again. Heat. This is so there have been 3 games so far this playoffs where a team won. Basically, a team lost 3 of the 4 quarters and still won the game, and 2 of them are the Miami Heat. How does
They know how to play, man.
Well, because when Jimmy's on, Jimmy's on, and you're right. They play great as a team. As a matter of fact, another great team stat for them. 5 of these other, if you look at take Jimmy out of it, because Jimmy 35 points. Jimmy's on his own. Jimmy is in rarefied air, man. He's on his own planet right now. In his own
Jimmy
universe.
going Jimmy.
Jimmy, you damn right he's on Jimmy. 5 of the other 6 Heat players to log at least 10 minutes all scored at least 15 points.
Right.
It ain't no fun if your homie can't have none. They all got in on
Get
it.
it in. Get it in. And on the contrary, on the other side of it, you look at what Boston did in the third and fourth quarter. It is utterly amazing to me that Jason Tatum took 4 shots, folks, in the entire second half.
No, that's crazy.
4.
That can't be true.
0 in the fourth quarter.
And how is he going to talk about him being one of the best players on the planet and that be the case in the playoffs?
0 in the fourth quarter.
At home, game 1. See, this is what's wrong with the Boston Celtics. They do have a tendency to play with their food. Right?
I like
and
that.
it ends up
I
getting
like
them
that.
in trouble.
I like that.
They are the villain in the movie that talks too damn much when they basically have the hero. They got him done. They got him caught. It's over. All they got to do is just pull the trigger or kill him, whatever they're gonna do, or push the button, whatever they're gonna do, and then their plot can come to fruition. And yet they want to sit there
and talk to him.
And talk to and confess to him.
Yeah.
And have this testimonial about
I've been chasing you for years. I remember when I first saw you. I was thinking I got to get to you.
All the while the hero's like
trying to get
out of the
himself
ropes.
loose.
He's like getting untied.
He's trying to talk to him too.
Yeah.
Well, what do you mean when you were looking at me like that? Why were you stalking me? Tell me why.
Waiting on their partner to come. Right, waiting on somebody to come say that. That's the Celtics this year. Because we remember they did it. Listen,
I like that.
They did it with the Hawks. Remember?
Yep.
They did it with the Hawks. They had that game. Basically, they have games where they have no business losing that they'll end up losing.
Yep.
Right? They had that game where they collapsed versus the Hawks. I think they were up 3-1. And they had a 109-96 lead with just over 6 minutes left in the game. And they started playing with their food.
Yep.
They started having their soliloquy. You know what? I've been waiting on this moment forever.
Yeah.
And it's so sweet to now finally have you where I want you. And it's like, just finish him off. What are you doing? Shut up.
Go
finish
for
him it. Yeah. Why are you talking? And they by the way, they did it against the
Girl, don't go in there. Girl, don't go in there.
They have those moments. They had that game. The game 1 against the 76ers was like that for them.
Yep.
They had the highest effective field goal percentage in a loss in NBA playoff history in that game. They were balling out, and yet they found a way to lose the game. It's like they go out of their way, and like you said, it's mind-blowing that Jason Tatum, who considers himself, and he's right, by the way, to be one of the best players on the planet in the game of basketball, but how could you allow that moment, the fourth
to slip
quarter,
away
second
from
half,
you?
To slip away from you.
Yeah, exactly.
You
I don't care
became
who.
a spectator?
Exactly. You're
the
sitting there
you've
watching.
Been a spectator?
Right.
What?
Turning the ball over, too. He was turning it over. I mean, he just wasn't playing good basketball. And like you said, I think a lot of that, too, is when you have a guy like Jimmy Butler who's not afraid of the moment.
He's the villain.
He
He's
is
the real
the
villain
villain.
in the movie.
That's like he tells him. He's like, I came here to kill you. And that's it.
He's like Denzel in Equalizer.
Exactly.
It ain't no drama.
No, he's doing like this. He's going like this. 10 seconds. He ain't even going to tell you how many seconds he's got. He just going to start his watch and be ready to go crazy on you
Jimmy
and then get
Wick
up out of there.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's the funny thing is because if you want to consider yourself him, you have to be him. Yes, that 51-point game, you started reading your press clippings.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, I did that. No, man, it's over. It's a new week. It's a new series. It's a new team. In the Heat, like Jimmy Butler said in his postgame, we don't care what y'all think.
Oh, that's good sound.
We don't even think about it. We just go for it, and we just let it happen. That's the thing that I sit there and I look at with Jimmy, and I'm like, Boston, you need to be that guy. Even if you got a young coach, you have to be that guy that goes in the huddle and say, hey, man, give me the ball.
Yeah, and Jason Tatum, if you want to be that guy, you need to be the guy who walks in the huddle and goes, our coach is an idiot.
Yes.
Our coach sucks. He can't coach us to anything. He's sitting over here not calling a timeout.
That's insane.
Cool.
You can
I'm
call
walking
a
in this huddle
timeout.
and go, you give me that ball. You set me a screen. I'm coming out and hitting it. Any of y'all think you're better than me? You take the shot. None of y'all are better than me.
Yep.
I'm going to go out there and play. But he doesn't want to do that because it's a lot of work, too, in the fourth quarter of a game where they're targeting you that they don't want to, they're ball denying you and everything else. One of the reasons Steph Curry is so great is because he's so good at getting open.
He's constantly moving.
When he gets ball denied.
Yeah.
And Jason Tatum is just it looks like, but he has done that for years. Is disappeared at points of games, and then can put up 40 in a game because if he doesn't ever disappear, then he's really, really good. But you have to be consistent, and you have to be the leader. For young guys, it's really hard to step into that role until you're closer to 30 to really step into being that guy.
Yep.
But if you want to say that you love Kobe Bryant, that's what Kobe did. Kobe's the one who made
Amen
Pau
to that.
Gasol into a champion. Because Kobe went to Pau Gasol and was like, you're better than what you're playing like. You need to suck it up. You're costing us this finals right now. You need to play at a higher level. And then they go and win a championship with Pau Gasol. Kobe is the one who went to him. So you need to have that guy where you're like, I'm going to get everyone on my team to play better, and then I'm going to play better. And then we're unstoppable because we are more talented than they are.
And
Duncan Robinson's getting minutes.
yes.
They were saying he should have been cut,
No
just
doubt.
straight up cut.
Yeah.
And he's getting minutes and beating you in some of these games.
Yep.
You can't allow stuff like that. Guys that you could have had that would have been G League players for you.
They can't
are
even make
beating
your
you right
roster.
now.
The guys that can't even make your roster
Are beating you.
Yeah, that's like Texas football sometimes.
Yeah, it does.
It's like
It
you
is.
got-
It is.
You got guys on teams in the Big 12 that are beating you. They can't even make your roster.
Because they
That ain't-
care.
Yeah, exactly.
'Cause they
Well,
care.
they're better coached.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's part of it,
And
too.
they got both of those chips on their shoulder
Yeah. Yep.
because they are the guys that everybody overlooked. But it's funny that you bring up the Kobe aspect of it because that's who Jason Tatum had trained with. That's his mentor. That was his idol. That was the person that he spent all this time with perfecting his moves. And then you get to the fourth quarter and you can't have a move.
And you
There
disappear.
had been not one game in Kobe's life. When Kobe was a rookie, he was shooting air balls at the end of games because he wanted to be that guy. And Shaq had to tell him, hey, man, get the ball to me. Get the ball. Kobe's like, no, I'm going to shoot because you go home early and you're out partying and I'm in the gym shooting all the time. No, I'm shooting it.
Well, and the irony is you're going up against a guy that has that mentality in Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
Like you have to match that kind of energy because if you don't, then he's just going to take over the whole damn game.
Yes, he will.
And we saw that with Jimmy Buckets, man. So it's going to be interesting because the Celtics, like I said, they are the ultimate underachiever
Yeah.
right now, and the Heat are the ultimate overachiever. It's like
And
it's
we'll
unbelievable what the Heat are
They're
doing.
the bag of misfits toys.
It
you know
really
what I'm
is.
saying? That's what
exactly
they are.
right. They are.
No,
Yep.
and I mean, and we'll
Great
see
point.
Jimmy Butler respond in game 2, most likely. And you go, Jimmy, we get you can respond. And that's awesome because you can go win game 2. But you need to be able to respond in game. You
Yeah.
need to get slapped in the face and
You talking
respond.
about Jason? You talking about
Jason Tatum?
Tatum.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
You need to
And Jimmy
respond.
responds.
Yeah, I'm like, Jimmy
No, Jimmy
already
respond.
know.
Jimmy slap you back.
Jason Tatum needs to respond in game.
Yeah.
You will
Jimmy
have a
slap you
good.
back.
But that's you need to respond it because that is basically what's happened is he'll get in these games, underperform, everyone will talk bad about him. He will come out and
Yep.
prove everybody wrong. But if you're not walking into the game trying to prove everybody wrong every time,
Yep.
you can't go at the end of the series and say, humbly, I'm one of the best players in the world, and then not have to feel like you have to back that up all the time.
4 shots in the second
That's what I'm
half
saying. That's-
total.
If you miss them, fine.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't care.
on, man.
I'd rather you miss 7 shots than take 4.
Exactly. Exactly.
I cannot believe that.
Yes.
For a superstar in the NBA, that's unforgivable.
Everybody out there at the free throw line yelling MVP, MVP. No, sir. No, sir.
No, you can't be.
You need to do that for Jimmy.
Yeah, you can't. You go damn right. You can't go Casper the Friendly Ghost and be chanting MVP on the side.
No.
And getting back to the Miami Heat, this is their 37th clutch time win of the season, regular season and playoffs combined. That's the most in a season over the last 25 years for them, and it ties their all-time high clutch wins came in their last in 2012-13 season, which was a title season for them.
Yeah.
So they're great in clutch time. I'm with you. It's unbelievable they're doing it with, like I said, a roster that probably, if you looked at it talent and tried to compare it talent-wise to the rest of the roster in the NBA, it probably would be in the bottom third, maybe.
Yeah.
Potentially, or at least the bottom half, definitely. And yet they're able to do what they do because they got great chemistry, great continuity, great coaching, great culture. And having all those, the great C's, if you will, they're putting it all together, man. And it's reminds me of that quote from that movie, Miracle, where the coaches are trying to figure out the roster for Team USA, and one of the coaches criticizes Kurt Russell's roster, and he says, "Coach, man, this roster don't even have. You're missing all the best players. You're missing all the best guys." And he's like, "I ain't looking for the best guys. I'm looking for the right guys."
There it is.
And that's Pat Riley.
He found
He
them.
ain't looking for the best
He
guys. He's
found
looking for
them.
the right
and I mean,
guys. He got the right guys.
And when we talk about Spoelstra too, you got to remember Spoelstra was an assistant on that 2003 or whatever championship year it was with Shaq and Dwayne Wade.
Yep.
It was 05. I can't remember. I think there's Spurs championships.
That's exactly what you're thinking of.
But I can't remember which year it was.
So many he mixed around. If I lose count is what he's trying to say.
This is why I wasn't good at school. I'm not great with dates. I don't memorize dates well. But the Miami championship with Shaq and Dwayne Wade, Spoelstra's on the coaching staff then. He's an assistant on that coaching staff.
Oh, yeah, like a video assistant or something.
Yeah, well, no, he's an assistant. He's
assistant.
Like he's coming up
Okay.
coming up in the world then. And then he becomes a head coach after that, and he has the run with LeBron and Dwayne. And now he's having this run where they make the final in the bubbles. They're making the finals again, or in the Eastern Conference Finals right now. Like takes something special to have that culture not only from above with Pat Riley, but also to his Spoelstra, who has been there through all of this and knows how to push the right buttons and get the right things out of players. Like he is just continuing to climb up the chart of those most successful coaches of all time and best coaches of all time.
Eric Spoelstra quote. This is a good one. You'll like this one, Patrick. In reference to Jimmy Butler and his identity now, and we got some Jimmy Butler sound that we'll play here too to kind of put a bow on this conversation. Quote from Eric Spoelstra: "He is us, and we are him."
Love it.
Talking about Jimmy Butler. He is us, and we are him.
Yeah.
That pretty much sums it up. Here's Jimmy Butler in the post game, letting everybody know how Jimmy feels.
How does this feel to you guys, what you have done so far? And if you go back all the way to that night against Chicago in the play-in, did you think then that something like this would be possible?
Damn right. I did. Damn right we did. And the best part about it is we still don't care what none of y'all think, honestly speaking. We don't care if you pick us to win. We never have. We never will. We know the group of guys we have in his locker room. We know that Coach Spo puts so much confidence and belief in each and every one of us, Coach Pat as well. And so our circle's small, but this circle got so much love for one another. We pump constant confidence into everybody. And we go out there and we hoop. We play basketball the right way, knowing that we always got a chance.
Man, it's hard.
We hoop.
Right?
We hoop.
There's so many quotes you can put on T-shirts in just that one little piece of audio.
Yep.
You really could.
Damn right we did.
Right. You can put this damn round in front. I mean, there's so many of those from Jimmy Buckets. I love this quote, though, from, this text from my man Chad in regards to the Boston Celtics being the villain that plays with their food, the villain that talks too much. He said, "My favorite villain that talks too much is the Emperor from The Return of Jedi."
Yep.
Yes.
Very much
One of the
so.
all-time.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, it is. It's like, dude, just finish him off. What are you waiting on?
What are you waiting on?
You giving him? You got him right where you want him, and then that's the Boston Celtics for some
And all of
reason.
a sudden, a 46-point third quarter.
Exactly. Honestly, I hate to say
46-point
this,
third quarter.
and you guys are gonna hate me for bringing this up, but I have to because it came to mind when I was thinking about it when I saw Chad's text. You know who was the ultimate villain who played with their food way too much? 2021 Texas. Think about it. They got up double digits in games, played with their food.
Patrick.
And then the villain that talked too
Good,
much.
Harge, we just need to go to break.
Longhorn fans start tweeting about,
Yes.
oh, yeah, we about to win another one. Oh, man, this team looks good. And then, like, oh, what happened? That was Texas.
Yeah,
I don't
it
know.
was,
I
man.
feel
That
like-
was Texas.
I feel like 2021 Texas was trying to eat the cow while it was still alive.
Yeah. Just gnawing at it, talking
Just
about
gnawing at it, like,
what's
oh, we
happening
got it.
right here. No, we're about to
Nah,
eat.
that
We're
cow's
about
just
to-
sleeping, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was I just reminded. Sorry,
We full.
that was unnecessary, but
Yeah, it was unnecessary,
I
Rob.
think it brought the analogy perfectly. Make it clear to everybody. All right, let's get into Texas baseball coming up next segment. Big matchup versus West Virginia coming up tonight. Actually, starting up, and my man Hard's gonna break it down for us and tell us why it's
No
such a big
doubt.
matchup. All that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie. Wonderful None the Horn. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a new theme Thursday based on the songs that are played by my man Patrick. Harge and I are supposed to gather clues that lead us to the new theme of the day. Man, I love the song though. Okay, Harge, you got anything?
Do we already have Marley Fest?
I think
we did.
It's closer to like 420.
It's closer to 420.
Yeah, it's around that time. I used to partake.
Me too.
In the Marley Fest, I mean.
Me too.
Yeah, but I didn't inhale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like that.
You don't have to anymore. You can ingest.
Very true.
That's
Because
very true.
Willie stopped inhaling, right?
Yeah.
Willie said no more smoke. He's just
I have nothing for the theme yet.
Okay.
I gotta wait for the next one.
That's good. All right. Okay. I like that. That's good. That's a great vibe though to start off the show.
It is, definitely.
Okay. Hopefully that good mojo rubs off on Texas baseball, Harge.
Yeah, it definitely needs to.
Has there been a big? Is this the biggest series of the season?
Oh yes, by far.
Right.
To me, yes,
And
absolutely. And
okay.
to the Texas Longhorns, if you got a chance to listen this morning on B&E, Coach Pierce was on, and he was talking about this series. I mean, you sit here, you get an opportunity to have it come down to this on your home turf. That is a beautiful thing. If you go out there, it's very hard to sweep. It's definitely hard to sweep. And as I kept saying the last couple of weeks, when they had that 7-game homestand, I said you can't go 7-0 without getting game number one. You can't sweep without getting game number one. And this is an important night. And especially, too, now you got your guy, Lucas Gordon, going number one for you. The biggest opportunity that you have here is you got to make sure that you put up runs because he's going to keep you in the ball game. You have to make sure that you move the baseball, put it in play, and you get a chance to play clean baseball. That's the most important part. West Virginia is coming in. Obviously, they're the number one team in the conference. They have done unbelievable work, and you sit here and you look at their squad. Their leading hitter is J.J. Weatherholt. He's batting .466 on the season. He's got a slugging percentage of .829, on base percentage of .530, and he's got a OPS of .1359. Coach Pierce talked about it though. He said you can't not go after him because he can steal bases too. So you got to make sure you're making quality pitches, making quality deliveries, and making quality plays behind him, and making sure that you keep him off the base paths. Other than that, Texas has as good a chance as anybody out there. If you look at their lineup top to bottom, there's no easy outs in that lineup as well. You know, Garrett Gumet, I told you that before. When he got here, I didn't know what to expect from him. But he came in and he's been a leader from the jump. He's done a great job behind the plate, and he's got power and he's got big hits in clutch situations. Dylan Campbell's done an unbelievable job as well at the plate. You got Kennedy hitting 15 home runs. I mean, top to bottom, you've got guys that are contributing, and you've got some guys that you don't expect things from that come in and get an opportunity, and they show up. Pitching and defense is going to keep you in this ball game. You have to do that, because this is the number one team in the conference.
I've heard E. Hogan mention this on the morning show a couple of times as a big area of concern for him are the late innings.
Oh, yeah, back in.
Late innings that this team, that for some reason that's when they have struggled this season. And they've taken a lot of losses basically because of the way that they've, kind of, not say collapsed, but the way that they've mishandled late innings in games.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about that? What is the issue? How do they rectify that? And, what in your opinion, going forward versus West Virginia, how would that affect them versus West Virginia?
Pounding the strike zone. You got to make sure that you pound the strike zone. You can't come in here and give up walks. You can't get behind. I always talk about this, too, whenever I'm doing the games with Craig Way. I'm always talking about the fact the most important pitch is strike one. You have to be able to deliver strike one. When you're pitching behind, anybody can go up to the plate and look for a certain pitch because they've got to challenge you. And if you're behind from the very rip as a pitcher, it makes it easier for me to hit at the plate. So they have to get strike one, and then they start pitching off of their fastball. I know a lot of guys are having a tough time finding it and staying consistent in the strike zone. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Us as hitters, we're not that smart, man. I've said it numerous
Hey, I'm glad
times.
you're honest about it.
I mean, we can go up there and we can outthink ourselves a lot of time. I'm like, oh, man, this guy's going to throw me a breaking ball right here, and he throws a fastball right down the middle. Or he can go up there and I'm thinking fastball, and I still swing at a breaking ball in the dirt. Sometimes our aggressiveness gets us in trouble.
Yeah.
But if you're not around the plate and I can sit on one pitch, it's I like advantage me in those. And early in my career, I was a guy that was always trying to jump on the first pitch I saw. Later in my career, I started understanding the philosophy of hitting and setting guys up. And you can see it happen quite a bit.
That's the chess match at the plate right there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, because the reactions, hand-eye coordination is there. That's why these guys are playing at this level. But it's the thought process of how I react to pitch changes everything. And West Virginia is not going to just give you the game. I mean, their lineup is tough. And I expect every one of these games to be really, really highly contested. I think it's going to be a close ball game. But it goes back to what I've been saying forever, executing the opportunities that you get. If you got runners in scoring position, get them in. If you got a guy on second base, get him over. I mean, there's so many things. And if you're going to be a leadoff guy and you get the bunt called up on you, get the bunt down. This is fundamental baseball. I've talked about it from the very beginning. If Texas can play fundamentally sound baseball, they're just as good as anybody.
Is that the situational baseball in the late innings that comes back to haunt them too?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It's not thinking the game through as you're talking about.
And sometimes overthinking it because the pressure of the game. Sometimes some people can't slow their heart rate down. Some people aren't able to. Coach calls a slider, but he holds on to it just a little bit too much, and it bounces, and then you get a wild pitch. I mean, there's so many things that factor into this. And, don't make the moment bigger than it is. You worked hard to get to this. You worked hard to play to this point. And you got the crowd behind you. You got the home field advantage. Go in there and use it to your advantage.
And to win the Big 12 regular season, we're talking about a sweep plus help from.
Yes, they can be co-champions no matter. If they sweep, they're co-champions.
Okay.
But they need Oklahoma State to lose one game to OU because they're playing Bedlam. Okay. They're having the Bedlam series right now.
Which anything could happen in
Anything can happen in Bedlam.
Oh, man. Yeah. It's a little,
high stakes poker, baby.
It's a little stressful, but this is when they're supposed to be playing their best baseball.
Yeah.
You know who your best rotation is, and you're right. Those everybody's got to step up.
No doubt.
In key moments, in clutch moments, and make some key plays for Texas baseball. All right, so Texas baseball tonight, we're off early at 6:15. We're going to give you up to Texas baseball versus West Virginia. That is the biggest series, it's hard said, biggest series of the season so far for Texas.
No doubt.
Just so happens to be the very last one at home for them, too. So that is a huge plus, and I know Texas baseball fans are going to be out there, especially since the weather is
Oh, my gosh,
beautiful.
it's beautiful
It is
outside.
actually, it's a perfect day for baseball.
It is. Let's play two, baby. No, let's play two.
No doubt about that.
My man. Shout out to my man Mark Pena. He's already at Matt's El Rancho right now, losing his mind. He's like, this is insane.
Oh no, yeah, no. I was like, I'm a little stressed thinking about it. I'm like, man, that's a little stressful thinking about it.
Exactly.
And I heard Coach Pierce on with B&E, and I encourage anybody to go check out their podcast because it was really interesting. But he just kept emphasizing the first game.
Yep.
They kept
you gotta
talking
get
about.
one.
So he's like, man, we got to get the first one.
Yep.
Get the first one. Can't even think about the sweep and all that other stuff. Just get the first one. And I mean, if everything goes well, they get to sweep and get a little help. They can win the Big 12, get a co-share of the Big 12 title. But if things go badly on the other end, not gonna look, things won't. They can finish as low as seventh in the Big 12.
They can finish as low as 7th.
So,
and with the Big 12 tournament starting next week, you want those extra days. You want to be able to sit back and relax and not have to use up your entire pitching staff during that time to play for a Big 12 championship.
Yep.
So there's so much that's riding on this. But again, take it easy. Go out there and relax. You've been preparing for this all year. It's no bigger than game one, but there's a little bit more riding on it at the end of the year.
Well, this is great, though. I mean, this is the pressure of the postseason,
Exactly.
pretty much. This is basically the start of the postseason. It just starts
Correct.
at the end of the regular season.
Exactly.
It is that type of feel, that type of stress, that type of pressure. guys got to be ready.
And West Virginia's coming in going, the champ is here.
Yeah, and you got to exactly.
The champ is here.
And what's the postseason about? You're going up against the best teams.
You're going to beat them right now.
And you're going
this
up
is the
against
time
to beat a man. You got to beat the man.
You got to take after Texas basketball, who beat Kansas at the end of the year and then beat him in the Big 12 tournament, and then went on and played well in the national tournament.
Yep.
You got they beat Kansas twice.
Right.
Before the season started early.
That's right.
You got to have that mentality. Go, so sweep West Virginia. Go ahead and win the Big 12 championship.
Let's
just
get
keep
this
moving
party
on.
started. Let's
I
do
like
it.
that. That's good
right.
mojo right there, Patrick. Good stuff there.
I like it.
Okay, we come back. We got the flex on the side, and also we'll give you an update. That's a big golf event happening. We'll give you an
is.
update on that, and them live guys are back.
Hey.
The live guys are back at
Are
the
they
top
really
of the
sure?
leaderboard.
I know
yes, they
he
are.
is. I see him.
Yeah, we'll get into that on the other side right here on Ball Don't Lie. 104.9 The Horn.
Mike Harge here for my friends over at the League Kitchen and Tavern. The League has 4 Austin area locations: Belterra, Lakeway, Bee Cave, and my favorite, Avery Ranch. You know, we love burgers, and what better way to enjoy the month of May than the May burger of the month, the Santa Fe burger. House blended patty, Hatch chili braised pork, pepper jack, pico de gallo on an aioli bun. Woo, woo. That sounds mighty tasty. And if you're thirsty, they got the May cocktail of the month, the prickly pear paloma. And if you're really hungry and you want to go over there for the entrees, they got the skillet tachos. They also have shrimp Veracruz and the Hatch chili pork enchiladas. I know that you are thinking about it right now, and it is in a neighborhood close to you. Whether you're doing dine-in or pickup, the League has something for you. You can view monthly specials and the menu at leaguekitchen.com. That is leaguekitchen.com.
Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. I don't even know what this is, but I like it.
It's the Eagles.
Oh, man. I know. That's why I like it then. I wasn't sure why. I was like, man, I kind of like this. What's the name of this song?
One of These Nights.
Okay. Man, I love the opening to it. It's fantastic. I also love the Eagles, so that makes sense. All right, you can be a part of the show. Spec Text Sounds the best way to do it, 512-337-3776. It is a new theme Thursday, and based on the songs that Patrick plays, some that broaden our horizons, just like this one, Harge and I are supposed to gather clues that lead us to the new theme of the day. And even though I really like the jam, I really do not know what the new theme of the day is. Harge, you got something?
This isn't the official start of summer, is it?
No.
Okay.
That's good.
No, I think the official start of summer is in June, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Still,
it
though,
is.
I like that. That was
I like
good.
it. I like
You're
it.
thinking outside the box. I like this. Okay. I got nothing still. That was good, though, Harch.
This is smooth, though. I
It
mean,
is.
it's almost like yacht rockish. You know what I'm saying?
It's almost record. That is not the
That-
theme either.
Oh, okay.
That is-
I
it
like
was-
it. I like where you're going.
Yeah.
And the next song's going to kind of fall into that too, but it's not the theme.
Okay.
Not yet, which is Craig Way's favorite genre of
Exactly.
music.
I'm
Craig
surprised
Way
Craig ain't texted us and we're like trying to help us out.
Craig loves him some yacht rock. It is so strange how obsessed he is with yacht rock. Him and his beautiful wife, they'll go to yacht rock concerts. Really into it. All right, hopefully we'll get the new theme of the day with the next hint. All right, let's get to the flex, gentlemen. FLXATX.com. FLXATX on all your social media platforms. Also, check out the Flex or the Flex website, I should say, because you can get the Wednesday Night Flex replay, the podcast of last night's show, which was great. We got a chance to hang out with a couple of the guests, or at least one of their guests. So you can go check out at FLXATX.com, and you can get all of the replays of the Flex shows, the Wednesday Night Flex, but you can also get last night's Flex, and you can get the schedule of the upcoming 7-on-7 tournaments for the Flex area. That'll be coming up this weekend, actually.
Yeah.
The first start of the 7-on-7 tournament. So go check that out. And I know my man Harge, he's been talking about some big time playoff baseball games happening here in the Flex area.
No doubt. This is a busy time, and we've been talking about how important this series is with the University of Texas hosting West Virginia. Well, just as important is Round Rock and Westlake. This is one that we've been waiting for, and it just sucks. And I was talking to a bunch of scouts today, just trying to get some background on all of this. It said it just kind of sucks that they're playing each other in the third round. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man,
Because
this should
they'll
be
eliminate
something.
it's a championship caliber matchup.
Exactly.
Yeah,
These
yeah.
are two of the best teams in the area, two of the best teams in the state. They're both ranked in the top 10, and now they got to battle each other and knock each other out. And the same can be said for Cedar Park and Rouse. They've got a one-game playoff that is going to be taking place tonight at Concordia. Winner take all. This is another one, a little local rivalry against each other from the same area. And then you also got to look at Georgetown baseball as they're continuing their quest to go back-to-back state champions as they take on Lake Creek. All of their games will be played in Mumford. That also starts tonight. And a shout-out to Georgetown softball. They, too, will be playing in Mumford as well. So the softball and, of course, baseball will be playing together on the road. So shout out to all those teams and best of luck to them. As I said before, this sucks that they got to battle each other right now. And Lake Travis, I ain't forgot about you. You take on San Antonio Johnson tonight as well. So best of luck to all of you.
I can't wait. And Harsh Knock Life, what you got coming up, Harsh Knock Life?
Well, we're efforting to find out if we're going to have Coach Carter.
I knew you were
come on.
efforting.
Yeah,
Okay, so I thought that was
he
the
starts
case.
batting practice right about now, and so he was trying to figure out if he was going to be able to be off the field in time to come on with us. If not, I'll talk a little bit about Round Rock and my man Cameron. My man Cameron Parker will be calling the game at Round Rock. And I will be jumping on with him during the broadcast for a little bit.
Big time. Yeah, I mean, I got to tell you, man, Cameron is
he's smooth, man.
He's expanding the brand a little bit.
Yeah.
Every time I hear about Cameron, he's calling action for some different sport.
Yep.
He's called action for like 3 different sports, I believe.
He
at
did
least.
swimming and diving.
That's what I'm going to say. Yeah, he's done like 3 or 4 different sports. He's a Renaissance man. And I got to tell you, and working with Craig Way on Light the Tower,
absolutely.
Can't be working with a better mentor than the voice of the Longhorns.
You can definitely learn something.
What?
And
Man,
if you're
all
not,
the time.
you're not trying.
I'm around Craig for 5 minutes. I usually learn something.
Trust me.
And if you want to hear Harge's interview, it was a great one, by the way, with the Westlake head baseball coach, JT Blair.
Yeah.
That is on the podcast page. That's yesterday's Harsh Knock Life. That's at 4:30. Go check it out. It was really good. He was hyped. He got me hyped. We had some people that texted us. They were like, "Oh, he's intense."
Yes, he's
like,
very
he's ready to
intense.
go.
He's ready to
but he
go.
was out at practice, I believe.
Yeah.
So we heard the bats in the background. So
Yeah.
I think he was like literally at practice, had just got done, probably yelling at somebody, got on the phone, and wanted to yell at somebody while he was on the phone, and
Yeah.
probably was pressing mute while he was yelling at somebody. So he was doing some real coaching out there, man. So we'll go
My
check that
bad,
out.
Taylor. My bad, Taylor.
Uh-oh.
They're taking on Salado. My bad. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He's got Taylor in 3. Taylor Ducks are playing at Eastview, going up against Salado. That is right. That is right.
No, you need to go with the Steve Harvey.
Yeah.
I have to apologize.
I have to apologize. I forgot about Taylor.
And you know what? Turns out I was reading an article about that randomly, and Steve Harvey's career actually after that, it took an upswing.
Yeah, skyrocket.
Went upswing. It was almost like Mike Gundy's "I'm a man" moment. Where remember after that, he said ironically, Mike Gundy after that he became known in a lot of households for the "I'm a man" rant, and it went viral at the right time. And instead of it having a detrimental effect on his kind of Q score and his favorability rating,
Yeah.
it actually went through the roof. People liked him more after that.
No doubt.
He said it actually helped him in recruiting. People thought it would hurt him in recruiting, and it didn't. Same thing for Steve Harvey. The "I have to apologize" thing, that moment of contrition and him just being humble and said, "Hey, man, I screwed it up. My bad."
Yeah.
It really did. It actually helped his career. Everybody thought it would hurt his career. So give it up for Steve Harvey. Random
doubt.
comment. So, yeah, just so you know, sometimes, all right, you hit rock bottom. Sometimes hitting rock bottom can be your springboard.
Yeah, I was going to say, you get a catapult.
Boom.
There it
Sit
is.
right back up where you need to be.
Right.
All right. Lesson, kiddos. All right. Let's get a little lesson.
Message.
For the PGA. The PGA Championship happening right now as we speak. And those live guys, man, they just won't go away. Bryson DeChambeau right now, he is leading. He's at the top of the leaderboard right now at 4 under. I believe he is done for the day. But Scotty Scheffler, shout out to the Lifetime Longhorn. He's at 3 under. He is tied with Corey Connors and Sepp Straka at 3 under. Then there's Ryan Fox at 2 under, along with Victor Hovland, Keegan Bradley, and Thomas Pietrus also at 2 under.
Oh, let's go.
So there you go. So yeah, you got long as there's a live guy around the top of the leaderboard, I think it makes it a little bit more interesting.
There it is.
Yeah, I don't want him to win. I don't want him to win.
You
All
just
right?
want them in the mix.
Sometimes I root for the bad guys in the movie, but I don't want them to win. I just want them to make the movie better. I want to make the plot more interesting. That's why I have to root for the bad guy. At the end of the movie, I do want the bad guy to ultimately end up losing or to get killed or whatever. Because most of the time, getting back full circle, that bad guy is going to have that monologue, that soliloquy, all right, where he talks too damn much at the end of the movie, and then he's going to end up being his own worst enemy. Being
No doubt.
the reason for his own demise.
He will be over there talking instead of killing.
Exactly. Hopefully that's Bryson DeChambeau and the live guys, but I do think it makes it more interesting. All right, we come back. We'll try to keep it interesting. We'll talk Texas football a little bit. We got some Bijan Rojo news for you. We're going to talk Cowboys as well. And we got to give a shout out to an all-time great having a birthday today. We'll do that as well right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Austin is a magnificent city. We all know it. It's beautiful. That's why people keep moving here to Austin, because they want to call it home like we do. And the reason for the aesthetic appeal of Austin is because of the skilled craftsmanship. Our good friends over at Ironworkers Local 482, they've been helping shape Greater Austin since 1935. And as our city continues to grow and thrive, so do our friends over at Ironworkers Local Union 482. They don't go to the office. They build it. You see the labors of their love all over this this great city in iconic landmarks like DKR Stadium and the Pennybacker Bridge. And the Ironworkers Local 482 right now, folks, they're looking to hire over 3,000 people for a huge project happening right here in Central Texas. So if you're looking for an exciting new career and you're frustrated with your work choices, maybe you want something new, something fresh, something that will challenge you, how about becoming a member of Ironworkers Local 482 and accepting the challenge of becoming the best version of yourself while helping shape in our city's economic development? Right now, like I said, they're hiring over 3,000 people, and you can become a valued member of Ironworkers Local 482 and take pride in the type of teamwork and craftsmanship that help shape the future of our great city. Maximize your potential and be your best self today. Simply apply at ironworkers482.org. That's ironworkers482.org. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a new theme Thursday edition of Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. That's when Patrick plays songs that are supposed to give Harj and I hints and clues, breadcrumbs that lead us to the new theme of the day. And although I really like all the songs that have been played, they are except very, very good songs. I mean, talking about hits. This could be new. This could be top of the charts Tuesday too, man. I have no idea what the new theme of the day is, Harj. So I'm looking for you to save me.
I'm trying to save you. Does any of this have connections to West Virginia?
No.
Does it have to be
that's
playing
good.
for the championship? You still the one. You're number
one is correct.
Oh,
But you were not thinking of the right reason I am playing one. Because the first song was One Love. The second song is One of These Nights. This is still the one.
whoa, one.
What one in my life?
you got the number one overall pick.
Oh, was it number one? Come on.
We should have known he wanted to talk more about Wembanyama.
We should have known he wanted to bring up Wembanyama.
How can we not know that he wanted to talk again all day about Wembanyama and make the new theme all about the Spurs being the luckiest team in the history of the NBA lottery?
Dang it, I got caught slipping.
Nah, that's we both should have got that. That's my bad too. Yes, Spurs in the lottery 6 times as a franchise, and 3 of those 6 times they've ended up with the number 1 overall pick, and they've all been big men.
Yep.
All right,
Yep.
David Robinson, Tim Duncan, and
They're getting
Wembanyama.
taller. The next number one pick we get is going to be 8 feet tall.
And if they continue on the trend, the previous 2 were Hall of Famers. So
Yeah.
who and one ended up being part, or at least a key cog in a dynastic run. So yeah, really hoping that that the Spurs don't kick off that dynastic run too early.
Dang it.
Yeah, because it's right now it looks real good. So there you go. That's the new theme of the day. Wembanyama, he is
Still the
prize. Yeah, he'll be the prize for the Spurs winning that number 1 overall pick in the NBA lottery. Still don't know how the hell that happened. Oh,
Yeah, I don't know.
how did that happen?
You know what? I'm going to tell you, other teams need to start lighting candles for the draft picks. 'Cause I can
think
tell
they
you,
do.
San Antonio has got to have the most candles lit.
I know they do. I'm sure
By
other,
far.
other fan
Yeah.
bases are doing it too. But like I said, we went over this in Raj Round the day before the NBA
that?
lottery. I went through all the numbers. You guys know I'm a numbers guy and analytics guy. Went through the actual numbers, and I said all the numbers say, because I'm a Blackstradamus, I'm trying to predict the future events. You look at past events. You want to predict future behavior, look at past behavior. And the past events told us Spurs were going to win it. And I said, listen, I'm telling you, based on recent history, Spurs win these things when they're in the lottery. And I thought it was just a cute, anecdotal little
Oh, it's
throwaway.
the first thing you ever gave a stat for. You're
Raj
like, man, I hope I'm wrong.
I should have said that. I never said that, and I'm going to come to regret that for the next couple of decades, actually, probably, depending on how long Wembanyama plays. Hope he plays for a long time though, too, because I do want to. I mean, if he's going to be the next LeBron James, I've never been this close to the next LeBron James. He's going to be there. At least I can go down there and check him out.
I was listening.
LeBron James.
I was listening to Brian Windhorst yesterday talking about how Wembanyama has apparently a strenuous foot exercise
Oh, try
that
to
he does.
strengthen
That
it.
he does foot stretches and foot exercises all the time to try and strengthen it because he knows that is a weak point for a lot of big men.
Like
and
it.
so he's somebody that has worked ahead of it to try and stay as healthy as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause that's one of the only things that can bring him, that can kind of derail this thing, is just injuries. And that's something he can't control. He can control it. He's trying to control as much as he can.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
Can't control it, but you're trying to control it as much as you can. All right, so that's the new theme of the day. I can't believe it took us that long, Harj. Come on, man.
Yeah.
We should have known that.
We
Dude
I mean, with
who wants
number
to
one,
wallow in
That's
their
what I'm-
victory some more.
I'm over here thinking about Bob Marley Fest.
I
You know?
was too, but yeah. So all the songs basically will reference or have
Yeah.
something to do with number 1 or first or
Yeah,
whatever.
the one, yeah.
Which, okay, there you go. So shout out to my man Patrick, always keeping us on our toes. All right, Hard Knock Life coming up next segment. We're going to talk some hardball in that segment. But we're going to talk some football here in this segment. Let's talk Cowboys first, Hard, since you're a Cowboys fan.
Yep.
And I thought this comment from from Schottenheimer, Brian Schottenheimer, their new offensive coordinator, was pretty interesting because he's not going to call the plays. We know that Mike McCarthy's going to call the plays, but they did hire an
Who was that,
offensive
Jimbo Fisher?
I mean, Mike McCarthy's calling the plays, but his new OC is talking to the media And he claims, and this has come from DallasCowboys.com, Brian Schottenheimer says they want to play fast. He said, quote, "We want to play physical, fast, and make everyone cover the entire field. I want us to be able to play fast." Now, is he talking about fast, meaning they have a lot of speed on the field to separate and run away from defenders? Or is he talking about he wants to play fast as an offensive tempo, meaning he wants to be up-tempo, and try to get a lot of plays in to put pressure on the defense? Are we talking about both? Which one is he talking about?
I would lean more towards I want to play fast as far as tempo.
So you think it's tempo?
I think it's definitely tempo. I mean, they got enough speed out there. We thought they had speed before. They just weren't executing it. I think it's more of the tempo type of play calling. But But again, it goes back to what we were talking about before. How can you play up speed if you're trying to run the ball?
You can. You can. I mean, you just run the ball and go up tempo, but it defeats the purpose at times
of giving your defense rest. Like
which is what they said they want to do.
Right,
remember?
Right.
They said they want to give their defense rest. Yeah.
Okay. So Schottenheimer, until the game start, man, don't talk. Let's just stay with the people at the top. You know what I'm saying? Let's get our. But I know they had training camp, so there was access that was there. But I'm thinking mostly playing tempo. I think they're going to play more with an up-tempo thought process.
Which is okay. So can I just throw this out there, because I know you're not a Kellen Moore guy, so I'm not going to get you too riled up.
Don't do it.
But Kellen Moore was playing with the best tempo in the league, arguably. Mm-hmm. If you look at if you look at top 10 no huddle percentage each year, and in plays per game, the Cowboys were right there, first, and sixth. Mm-hmm. In plays per game. They were top 10 no huddle percentage each year. Situation neutral pace, they were second, first, and fourth. They played with a lot of tempo when Kellen Moore was here. And I'm with you. They have stated several times that they want to control the ball, run the ball, and keep their defense fresh and keep it off the field. They've hinted that, and yet we hear him saying they want to play fast. That's why I was asking, is he talking about tempo, or is he talking about them just wanting to be a speed-oriented team offensively, guys like Tony Pollard and CeeDee Lamb? I wasn't sure, but like you said, it doesn't sound like it doesn't sound like he and Mike McCarthy and Stephen Jones are all on the same page.
Right.
Sounds like they're.
That's what I'm saying. Like, are y'all not having a meeting? Have y'all not discussed what we're going to give the audience every single time? This is what we're going to talk about to the media.
Yeah.
And this is why we're going to talk about this, because this is the expectations
that
I have.
The messaging should be the same. The messaging ain't the same.
It don't seem unified at all.
I mean, I could understand if you're saying, well, first and second down, we're going to go a little bit slower, but then third down, if we got a third and we know it's a passing down, we don't want to let them change up the players, so we'll basically run the same guys out there, and we know how to hurry up then, so they can't switch out personnel if we pound the ball twice on first and second down and then throw on third. Like, I think there's situations where you'd want to be able to go quick, just to try and get them where they can't sub, but at the same point, that's not really what he's saying.
And yeah, it's not, like I said, and we could just be reading way too much into it. So I'll just bring it up the quotes. I thought, that's interesting, because you hear Stephen Jones on 105 through the Fan. This quote says, "We actually, you might say, held Kellen back on productivity just so we could stay out on the field longer at times. Mm-hmm. That's been, again, to help the defense out. It's why the running game can be so important, because you get to stay out on the field longer." So he's saying, because I just gave you the stats about Kellen Moore loved up tempo. He's like, man, let's hurry up as much as we can. Yep. And they were like, sometimes Kellen Moore, like, Kellen, calm down, man. We want the defense to be fresh. We want us out. Yeah. Which that all tracks. And then hearing Mike McCarthy say, I've been where Kellen Moore has been. Kellen wants to lie off the scoreboard, but I want to run the damn ball so I can rest my defense. I think when you're a coordinator, you're in charge of the offense, but being a head coach and being a play caller, you're a little more in tune with everything. I don't desire to be the number one offense in the league. I want to be the number one team in the league with a number of wins and a championship.
Yeah.
And I think everybody's like, yes, I love that. Great.
Great message.
Great message, because the Cowboys, if you look at take offense with non-offensive touchdowns removed. So take away non-offensive touchdowns, that's kickoff returns, punt returns, and defensive touchdowns, which Cowboys have a lot of those over the last couple of years. In 2022, you take that away, Cowboys are third in scoring behind Philadelphia and Kansas City. Last 2 years, Cowboys have the highest scoring offense in the NFL, ahead of Kansas City and Philadelphia and the Bills and Cincinnati. Scoring a lot of points. I guess they want to win more games.
I was going to say, not getting a lot of wins.
Well, they getting 12 wins, but they want to get past the divisional round.
I was going to say, they want promised land stuff.
And I think the way they wanted to do that was to focus more on the defense and feature the defense. And I just thought it was interesting that Brian Schottenheimer was like, no, we want to play fast. I'm like, well, you've been playing fast. I thought your boss is are saying they want to slow it down. They want to get screwed and chopped.
Yeah.
And you saying y'all want to speed it up. So, anyway, just throwing it out there.
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing that up because I definitely was looking at it, talking about, okay, what do you mean playing fast? You had fast guys on the squad. There wasn't anybody that wasn't really fast out there. You brought in Tony Pollard. You talked about CeeDee Lamb. You had other slot receivers. You had what's my man's name? Turpin.
Oh yeah.
You had him. You didn't use him the way that we thought you were going to. So what do you mean by that? So it had to be tempo to me.
Yeah, we'll see when the Cowboys' offense is unveiled, if you will. We'll see if tempo is still a big part of it, or if they just want to run the rock. Okay, let's get to this Rojo and Bijan news, and then we'll get out and get ready for Hard Knock Life. So Rojo, let's start with Rojo, because I've been searching around for Rojo stories, and they're everywhere.
Yep.
Chicago Bears websites. You go look up a Chicago Bears football website, I guarantee there's a story about Rojo on there. They talking a ton about him, and the front office can't stop talking about him either. There's a lot of talk about Rojo in the front office, and it was the GM, Ryan Poles, I believe is his name. He actually is also speaking very complimentary of Rojo. Remember, we played the story from my man Richard Hightower, lifetime Longhorn Richard Hightower, I should say, a couple of days ago. Maybe that was last week, where he tells the story of Rojo in the meeting room, and everybody leaves the meeting room. Guys leave their trash everywhere, Gatorade cups, water bottles, and Rojo stays behind and cleans up the trash. Coach Hightower comes back, and he's like, "What you doing, man?" He's like, "I'm just cleaning up this stuff. It's trash. I don't know why everybody left their trash here, but it bothered me. I don't like it.
Bothered me.
Things need to be done a certain way, and the right way is the way they need to be done." That's basically his mindset. And we played that. It was great sound, great audio. So now we have Ryan Poles, and he was with Cynthia Furland of NFL Plus. And this is what he claimed. He said he ran, or the front office ran, they ran 53 simulations of the draft leading up to the actual NFL draft. And none of them had Roschon Johnson falling to them where he did. He said the quote says he told Furlan, and I looked for the sound, I couldn't find the audio. "How is he available at this point? I have no idea," Poe said. He said, I absolutely love this player, and I love the person even more. You talk about contact, balance, strength, size. We're going to love this guy, especially when we get in December. He's a special guy who can enhance the culture in our locker room too." And there's a beat writer that's been following the Cowboys, the Bears, for years, and he actually believes, his sources are telling him, that Roschon Johnson's going to crack the starting lineup potentially.
Hey,
no, seriously,
I wouldn't be shocked by it.
He was doing a Q&A. All right, this is his first quote. He said, "In the end, I think Johnson will find his way into the starting lineup." The Bears have been effusive in their praise of him. It's also important to note that while they like Herbert, Poles and Eberflus didn't draft him. And he was asked in a Q&A. Sorry, here's the question. He's like, "Hey, man, give me whatever question you want. I'll answer it about the Bears." And somebody asked him, Roschon Johnson is, our running back one. And that was his response to it. That in the end, he thinks Rojo will find his way into the starting lineup. And we told the story, or at least we read the report last week, that they want to do running back by committee, the Bears do, which is really good news for Rojo, because that means he's definitely going to get a shot.
Exactly.
And all he's got to do is take advantage of his opportunity, and we know he's going to do that.
Right. Right. And that's the thing about it, too. You brought up some very great points about how we think of him and how those coaches and the staff thinks of him. But we've talked about that for years. If he would have been at any other university, if let's put it like this, if Bijan Robinson wouldn't have been a running back at the University of Texas, Roschon Johnson would have been the starting running back at the University of Texas. And we saw it throughout the country. He could have been a starting running back on pretty much any other team in the country if he would have been their bell cow.
Yep.
Because we see the talent. We've seen the way he's gone about his work ethic. He comes in, even if he's replacing a Bijan, he's running just as hard, and you gave the stats about the broken tackles. He's just as effective. So for me, I'm not shocked by them saying, oh, man, he might be our starting running back, because we know what he brings to the table every single day.
And then, like I said, and it is true. The compliments have just been just overwhelming for Bijan.
Yep.
And how I remember reading the quotes from one of the scouts, I guess the lead scout for, not Bijan, Rojo. I apologize. I think I said Bijan. The lead scout for Rojo for the Bears, and his name escapes me. It was Sidy or Sidy. I'm sure I mispronounced it, but it was Syty. John Sidy or Sidy. And he's their Southwest area scout. And he said, this young man, who has some pretty special qualities just in terms of his leadership ability. He's someone we really feel can become a pillar in this organization for a really long time. I feel really strongly about this guy. I'm excited for you guys to meet him. There's a level of it factor to this kid. The second he walks into the room, all you guys are going to feel it. I'm a little bit emotional talking about this kid. We spent a lot of time with him. Coach Walker went down and visited with him at Texas. We worked him out at Pro Day. This kid has been through a lot of adversity, and there's a reason that we selected him today. I have a feeling this guy is going to be with us for a really long time. This human being is wired differently. The more time you spend around him, the more you realize you're the one that probably has the stuff that you need to work on. He's that kind of guy. That's from the lead scout.
We seen it.
So they love them some Rojo. He says he just emulates everything we want a Chicago Bear to be. I just can't say it enough. The it factor about this kid is special.
And we've seen it. We've talked about it ourselves. We've seen it firsthand. We've seen the growth, the maturation, the change, the position change, and how he took it head on. I mean, we talked. What did Sark say? Man, if it wasn't for him, I don't know what would have happened. It would have went off the rails. Exactly.
It would have went off the rails.
That's the leadership. That's the conversation. And what does he say at every press conference? I owe those guys a debt of gratitude for what they were able to do in that moment for the University of Texas by having everyone fall in the line and to believe in it.
We played, let's jump to the other great NFL running back, former Longhorn in that backfield, a lifetime Longhorn, I should say. He's a legendary lifetime Longhorn, and maybe Rojo will be one day too. But Bijan was doing an interview with ESPN, and we played the audio of Terry Fontenot, the GM for the Falcons, talking about how they want to use Bijan and saying they're going to use him as an offensive weapon. All right, He said, we're not just thinking of him as a running back, we're thinking of him as an offensive weapon. And there's been videos that have surfaced of him lining up in the slot and running routes downfield. Bijan, when asked about how they're going to use him, Arthur Smith, the play caller and head coach of the Falcons, he said, quote, he uses me everywhere, from receiver to running back. He lets me do my abilities and skill set the right way. And whether it's catching the ball, running routes, obviously running the football, blocking, and doing it all.
That's what it's all about, man.
I think
what have we talked about for him too?
Yeah, it was a perfect landing spot for Bijan. It was that you couldn't have landed in a better spot because Arthur Smith believes in positionless football. He's one of those guys that's got a very versatile skill set, and they also run the ball more than any other team in the NFL. And he's going to be their bell cow running back, but not just a bell cow running back, a bell cow weapon.
And DraftKings Sportsbook has him as the preseason Rookie of the Year for those reasons. That's going to lead him to it because he's going to get more opportunities. Not only going to line up at running back, line up at wide receiver, line up in the slot, line up at off back. I mean, he's going to be doing everything, and they're going to find ways to get him the ball. I said it from the beginning that if you're going to take a chance on taking a running back that high in the draft, you better use him and use him as much as you want to because he's a different type of back. What do you call him? X
Smart
factor?
back. He's a smart back, man.
That's right.
They
He
can do
does
it
it
like
all.
a smartphone.
Yeah.
He can do it all, man.
Can
anything
do it
you
all.
Want. All right, so Hard Knock Life coming up next. What you got for the people?
We're trying to get Coach Carter on. He's finishing up batting practice, but if not, we called an audible. We got our man Cameron Parker, who will be calling this game, this epic high school baseball game.
Nice.
That he's already got the prep for it, so he's going to take us behind the curtain and let us know what's going on.
Sounds good. Talking some hardball with my man Hardball coming up for Hard Knock Life right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Let me tell you about our friends over at Apple Leasing because they want to be your friends, too. As a matter of fact, that's their secret formula. That's the secret sauce to their business model that's been a successful business here in Austin for almost 40 years. That's right, because our friends at Apple Leasing, they make sure that their customers are satisfied and they give you the most bang for your buck. They can make sure you get the price you want, the payment you want on the car that you want. Apple Leasing can help you get the price you want, the payment you want with one simple phone call. Give them a call, 512-346-9977, or just go to their website, appleleasing.com, and they can help you out, folks. They can do all the hard work for you. They have a simple, interest, easy lease that makes life, well, simple, and one person that knows all about that is my man, Mike Harge.
That's right. It was so simple that I did it 3 times. I made sure that me and my family got a chance to speak with the folks over at Apple Leasing. They make this job so easy. And a lot of times you're busy. You got a job, you got kids, you got things that you need to do. You don't have a lot of time to be spending at dealerships and waiting all day and, oh, we're going to get you the paperwork. No. We'll send it through you. You can do it on DocuSign. That's exactly what we did, and they made it so easy. One of the biggest questions that I ever had was, I drive a lot. I'm all over the city. I'm doing different things. And I'm like, man, I don't know how many miles I'm going to put on this. They said, don't worry about it, Mike. We'll make sure we find something that is right for you, and we'll make it easy for you. That's why they have the Easy Lease, and you can get those Easy Lease advantages. As Rod was telling you, go over to appleleasing.com today, and you can sign up or give them a call at 512-346-9977, and they will walk you through the process. It was so simple. I did it 3 times. Apple Leasing. Go to appleleasing.com. Welcome back to the new theme Thursday edition of Ball Don't Lie. It's your boy Hardball Hards, and the new theme is number one, Wembanyama. My man Patrick Davis is still on cloud nine because his San Antonio Spurs get the number one pick. We don't know if it's going to be Wembanyama. No, I'm just kidding. Everybody's talking about Patrick's head almost snapped over there looking at me. But everybody's excited down there in SA. I heard the cars honking all the way in Austin because of that. It's your boy Hardball Hards. You can follow me on Twitter at Hardball Hards. You can follow my man Rod Babers at Rod Babers. And, of course, you can follow the man behind the glass at It's Patrick Davis. We also love it when you're a part of the show. Hit us up on the Specs text line, 512-337-3776. And joining us on the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina hotline, you hear him on Light the Tower. They call him the Colonel around here, Colonel Cameron Parker. Will be joining us right now on the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina hotline. Cam, what's up, buddy?
What's up, Cam?
Did I hear Patrick claim to be a Spurs fan? I thought Patrick was an H-Town guy. Patrick, you picking and choosing here? The lottery man?
Come on now. I've been a Spurs fan my whole life. There just doesn't happen to be there does not happen to be a basketball, a football or baseball team in San Antonio.
There it is. What you say? What you say?
Okay.
There it is. So he's always been down with them, but I like the way you try to call him out because he is a Texans fan for sure. He is definitely he's back now.
Originally a Love Your Blue Oilers fan who had to become a Texans fan. That's really where he worked out.
Yeah, so it all plays itself out. But Cam, you're from Carolina. Who's your team? Are you a Carolina Panther fan?
No. Fortunately, I was raised the right way by my family in Texas. So I am a Cowboys fan. I'm a very apathetic Cowboys fan. But most of my teams outside of OKC all resonate in the Lone Star State.
Okay, we'll let you ride with that. Well, Cam, let's get into it, man. This is one of the most talked about matchups in the state of Texas. 2 top 10 teams going at it right here in Central Texas, and you have the pleasure of calling the game. You've been calling Round Rock baseball all season long. You've been doing the play-by-play. You've been doing the commentating. You have been doing a great job. So you got to see this Round Rock team up close and personal all year. What are some of your biggest impressions from this team?
Well, Hard, as you know Coach Carter pretty well, I mean, they're one of the most well-coached teams I've seen on the high school level. I mean, their infield, their defense, the way they run the bases, the way they can hit and run, and they can lay bunts down. It reminds me of just a well-coached JUCO team or even a D1 team. I mean, their infield with David Bradley at second base, Hudson Ellis at shortstop, Tyler Teets at third, and Ren Andreworth at first base. I mean, that's probably one of the best infields defensively in the state of Texas, and that's what lays the ground for them. And then anyone in their lineup can hit. I mean, just like Wesley, as we'll talk about, I'm sure, in a few moments, anyone on this team can hit. Hudson Ellis, the junior, he's a Dallas Baptist University commit. He's probably the team's best hitter, but he's not even leading the team in hits this postseason with Connor DeGesualdo. He's a right fielder junior. He has the most hits in the postseason so far with 7, but everyone in their lineup has 4, 5, 6, 7 hits, and that's what has made this team so good. They aren't reliant on one guy. They're not a heliocentric baseball team. They have 9, 10, 11 guys who can come in, get a hit, and they have some horses out of the bullpen as well, along with Travis Sikora, who's going to be possibly a first or second round MLB draft pick. He's signed to Texas, the senior. He sits in the upper 90s. He's at 100 this year. He's got a wicked slider. And then Tanner Jackson, who also comes out. He's a number 2 starter. He's a right-handed pitcher who's got a great fastball and a great curveball. So they're a great 1-2 punch. And, I mean, any given night, those guys can go 5, 6 innings. And when you get 6 innings out of a high school starter, usually that yields a win.
No doubt about it. We're talking to Cameron Parker. You can hear him every day from 10 to 12 right here on Light the Tower with Craig Way and Jeff Howe. And, Cam, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, you brought it up, Travis Sikora, the Texas commit. Obviously, there's going to be a bunch of Major League scouts that they've been traveling around all year watching him every time he pitches. Have you seen him ever get rattled? I mean, it's one thing to be throwing 99 to 100 and mixing in that slider as well. But then there's some days you just don't have your best stuff. Have you seen him mature from day one to where he is right now?
it's funny you bring that up. There was a game earlier this season. It was a road contest, and let's just say the home plate umpire strike zone. I don't know what he was looking at. Right? We all have one of those days, and Decora, who usually he'll strike a lot of guys out, doesn't typically walk a lot of batters. He was walking a few guys, and you could kind of tell it was starting to get to him, but he didn't let it get to him. And throughout the season, there's been times when he'll give up a hit, and there might be an error in the base runner gets to second and third. And you're like, okay, this is what the scouts are looking for. Let's see how he reacts. And he somehow always finds a way, even with a runner on third base with no outs, to get out of that half inning without any runs given up. So to answer your question, Harge, he seems like a very well-matured type of kid. He's very humble. And, I mean, you hear it from talking to the parents and Coach Carter. But, hearing it is one thing and seeing it is the other. And from what I've seen this year, I think he's by far the real deal. And it's a big reason why the last 2 playoff wins Decora has delivered.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch him. I know a lot of my buddies I've been talking to that are scouts have been talking about this kid for the last couple years. I know he has some history with a lot of the the Westlake guys. They've seen him since they were little kids as well. You know what? Coach Carter is calling me right now, so we might have to get you off. But Ren Anderworth, I've known Ren since he was a baby. I played high school baseball with his dad. We played against each other. He is a Round Rock legend over there. He's matured a lot playing first base. He's come up. I've even seen him beat out a ground ball to win the game in San Antonio versus San Antonio Reagan. Talk about what he brings over there at first base, because I know he can pick it over there, but he's also been pretty stable of keeping that infield in place.
Yeah, he's a great first baseman, defensively sound. He's a power hitter. But and his dad, and his dad's pretty even kill, doesn't seem to get too riled up. But now I understand that he was like his son, because his son Ren, he is the most vocal guy in the field. He is, I think, the team leader. He's always in the ear of the pitcher, of teammates, just kind of getting them hyped up. If they make a mistake, he's the first one over to talk to him, and he's the first one to tell the opposing team, if something bad happened. Right? He's hilarious. He's fun to watch, but he's definitely the most energetic kid on this Round Rock team. He brings it. I know his dad sometimes wishes he would chill out some more, but hey, every team needs that type of guy, right, Arch?
No doubt about it. Cam, as the man, I appreciate you. We're about to bump you off and get Coach Carter on. How about that, bro? Cam?
I think he was upset about it.
I think Cam was very upset.
Oh, you bumping me for Coach?
I'm bumping you for Coach. Coach Carter?
Yes, sir.
Hey, how you doing, buddy? I know you've been on the field. We just kicked Cam off, and he's mad at me now, so he may not even let me call the game.
He's got a better voice than me, so you might want to keep him around.
It's all good. We're talking to the head baseball coach of the Round Rock Dragons, Coach John Carter, the man who has been over there taking this team to newer levels and higher levels. Coach, we were just talking to Cam about your squad and how you've put this all together. And one thing I've known all my life about Round Rock baseball, they know how to compete and they know how to play in these types of games. I know you just got done with batting practice. How are you feeling? How's your squad looking? And I'm sure you're ready to go.
I'm drenched. I'm hot, sweaty, but that's what it's about. You throw 500 pitches in BP to get these guys ready to go out and compete at their best and to be where their feet are, and that's what they're going to do. They had a great round of BP. They've had a great week of practice, and they're ready to rock and roll.
So how do you keep this game in perspective? I know being around the game as long as I have and watching this program flourish through all the years, going back to Coach Langerhans being the head coach, and now you taking over and leading this team that way. But when you sit here and you know what's at stake and you know who the team is, and a lot of these guys have played against each other and with each other during the summertime, so there's no hiding or tricking anybody. It still comes down to playing the game. But how do you keep your guys on an even keel?
We try to focus a lot on the mental game and understanding that you can control what you can control. Don't live in the past. Don't look to the future. Be where your feet are. Play one pitch at a time and be in the moment and enjoy the moment. Sometimes we get so caught up in the noise, as I call it, that we don't remember, it's a game. They don't say work ball, they say play ball. So we're just going to go out and play and be us and compete and see what happens.
Yeah, Coach, I know that you have the spring game that's going on right across the way at the football stadium, and then everybody's going to come over to the baseball game because everybody knows what's at stake. They know this is a big game. And not only that, you got Travis Sequoia on the mound that is highly touted. A lot of scouts have been there and following you guys all around. And, you know, Westlake travels well also. How are you going to be able to hold all these people, man? I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get into the stadium tonight.
You can sneak out by my parking spot and sneak in down there if you need to. No, really, I can't control all that. I told the guys that. I said, there's going to be all kinds of distractions that are out there. We can't, if those kind of things take us away from what we're doing. I said, today is Thursday. It's just like last Thursday, the previous one before that, and the one before that, and the one before that, and the one 3 months ago. It's a Thursday. Treat it that way. Don't make it more than it is. Stay in the moment. Be where your feet are. Understand that you can't control the weather, you can't control the umpires, you can control your attitude, your effort. And that's what we're going to do. Try and control our attitude and our effort and go out and compete at the best of our abilities.
And what have you seen from Westlake? Obviously, you guys scrimmage each other a lot during the preseason. You've seen each other the last few years. Both of you are pretty much led by your seniors. So it's just go out there and play ball. But when you look at Westlake, what do you see?
I see a team that's very competitive, that's never out of a fight. They've won a lot of close ball games, especially here recently, some extra inning ball games. They're going to throw strikes. They're going to play good defense, and they're going to put the ball in play. They're a quality club led by a highly talented, large senior class with a lot of experience, and that helps you. Experience is a key. But I feel like, it's going to be a great matchup. If you look at the numbers on paper, pretty even, and it'll be a good ball game, great atmosphere.
Yeah, and I can't wait to get out there. First pitch tonight at 7:30. I would encourage anyone that is going to this baseball game, go there now because you're going to need to try to get in there because I expect it to be at capacity. I saw a post today that they told everybody to bring their lawn chairs as well because they might be sitting outside the fence. Coach, I wish you nothing but the best of luck, and I'll see you tonight. You probably won't see me because there's going to be so many people there, but I definitely will be there.
Well, I can't thank you guys enough for giving me the opportunity to come on here and talk to you, and more importantly, giving our kids the due diligence and the credit they deserve, because these kids work their tails off on a daily basis, and I appreciate the fact that you guys are giving some credit and some love. So thank you for all that you do for high school baseball.
No problem, Coach. And as
Coach.
expected, man, you work hard, and that's you reap the rewards by working hard, and you get a chance to play at these high-level games. But I'll see you tonight,
Absolutely.
and best of luck, my friend.
Yes, sir. Thank you. God
Good luck,
bless you
Coach.
guys.
You got it. That's Coach John Carter of the Round Rock Dragons. I mean, I played against Coach Carter. When we were growing up, he was playing here at Round Rock as well. So I've known him. He knows what it's all about. We've had Coach Langerhans on before talking about Coach Gus, but also talking about the times where he had me perplexed over there trying to – I was like, man, this dude, he made me nervous every time. I'm like, this dude knows everything about me. So they do their
Scouting
due diligence.
report, huh?
Oh, yeah, he
Scouting
had
report on
every
point?
scouting report. So I'm excited for this series, and, it just sucks that they're playing this early, and one of these teams are going to end their season going up against a local squad. So it's going to be tough, but I'm excited to watch some good baseball.
And you said you're heading out there.
I'm heading out there tonight.
Okay, you gonna end up. You have a seat already
I do
saved?
have a seat.
Oh,
I do.
somebody
Yeah,
saving you.
yeah,
Somebody
yeah,
saving
yeah.
you a seat out there, huh?
Well, I'm gonna go sit by Cameron. I'm gonna go sit by Cam. Cam got a table waiting up there, so
Are you calling?
I'm gonna hop on with Cam
Oh,
and do
you
a
just gonna
couple
hop
innings.
on.
I'm gonna do a couple innings with him
Okay, nice. Do
Yeah.
you know what innings you're doing?
as soon as I get there.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's
Yeah,
nice
yeah.
then. All right,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a little news there. All right, so make sure Cam doesn't take it personal that he got bumped. 'Cause
Yeah,
it seemed like
I think he
might
knows.
have.
He may get me bumped tonight.
Oh, you're right. Now the power dynamic shifts
Quickly.
You bumped him, and now he has the power to bump you.
No doubt.
Yeah,
no
all right.
doubt.
Oh, so looking forward to that coming up tonight. All right, we come back. We'll get into Off the Record. Is the city of Austin losing its cool? We'll get into that on the other side, right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. I'm getting older, as you guys know, and as I get older, I realize there are certain things I am ready to leave in the past, like social distancing, cancel culture, the Big 12. Put that up there, too. As I've grown older and wiser about, all different things, I've realized that the more things change, the more things also stay the same. The one thing that I am not ready to leave in the past is my favorite beer. That's Bud Light. I've been drinking Bud Light ever since my days drinking on Dirty Sixth Street when I was balling on the 40 acres through my time in the NFL as a player. And nowadays, just as a simple reward for a hard day's work in the yard or just to decompress after a long, hard day. Bud Light is still my go-to beer for my Longhorn tailgates on Saturdays and NFL Sundays. So whether you want to toast and cheers to a brighter tomorrow or drown your sorrows, it's never a bad time to break out the Bud Light. Bud Light isn't just for anybody, it's for everybody. The best way to get the good times going is to keep the Bud Light flowing. Bud Light is the sure sign of a good time because it turns good times into great times and the rest of the times into the best of times. So be the life of the party and bring Bud Light to the party. Bud Light is my choice and the world's favorite light beer. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. All right, gentlemen, let's talk about the beautiful city that we call home, Austin, Texas. Austin, Texas, baby.
Baby.
As the happy birthday to VY.
Happy
Who we
birthday,
also
my
have to
brother.
discuss. We'll get into a VY conversation probably on the other side, too. We got to pay homage to the great Vince Young and give him some love. But how about this? The U.S. News and World Report, which reports on the best places to live in America. Usually, Austin would be ranked really high. It's been in the top 10, top 15 year after year, it would seem, on this list. They reportedly are at number 40 on this year's list. Number 40.
Yes.
In the previous 6 years, Austin has been ranked between number 1 and 14. Never dropping out of the top 14 in the last 6 years. The list consists of 150 cities. But this is the third straight year that Austin has dropped on the list.
I like it.
I like it.
Actually, I love it.
And I think affordability has become the biggest issue.
It has been an issue for a lot of people.
In terms of the factors as to why it is no longer at the top of that list is affordability. And we all agree. I mean, Austin used to be a great town to have a cheap date. You can no longer have a great cheap date in Austin. You can, but you got to know a lot of people and you got to know somebody.
And you got to definitely have to go to a picnic, chicknick, like you
gotta
always
do the
talk about.
You can't go to an actual restaurant anyway.
Yeah.
But so it's no longer at the top of that list. But like you are an Austinite who probably likes that. You don't want people.
I don't want no more
moving
people here.
anymore.
No.
Yeah.
No, I really am at the point where it's like we don't need more people here. We don't need people saying, "Oh man, I love Austin. I'm moving here." No, we don't need you.
No.
We don't need you. We've done enough. We've done enough. So I'm with you on that. I'm glad to hear that we're 40th because at first, when it was first, everybody was coming here. Now, to your point, the affordability has changed. The numbers have gone through the roof. We've already seen what happened with the housing market.
Oh, yeah.
There's so much that has gone on to where it's like you're pricing people out. And it's like, nah, we're not going there.
Yeah, it's hard to live in Austin within the Austin city limits.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's hard to be able to afford to live within the Austin city limits.
It's funny when you price out all of your culture, that
Right.
suddenly your culture is worse.
Yep.
I don't get when you're like, hey man, you know what? All of the great like little Mexican places you go to, we're gonna price all them out. We're gonna price all them out. So we're gonna be going, hey, and all the musicians that y'all really love, and we're also live music capital of the world. We're gonna price them further and further away. We're gonna make clubs steal money from them. So we're just gonna do that so that they're not gonna be here anymore. We're just gonna keep doing this and pushing all of our fun parts away, and then wonder why people don't want to move here. Like, well, you pushed away the fun part, and now it's just people with
Too
money.
commercialized.
Like,
Yep.
Yeah,
this is the deal. We need more bars with less lighting. That's what Austin used to be. Now every bar I walk into in Austin, I can see people, and I hate it.
I love that. You're right about no. I just say my barometer is, and I'm a married man, so date night is still a thing. But yeah, the cheap date. I used to love Austin because it was a cheap date town.
Yeah.
Great cheap date town. You get all these little because a lot of it wasn't like the bars. Like you can just go to a great bar, get a couple of drinks, pretty cheap, and then you got a
Bounce
lot of
to
great.
the next
and you got
spot,
a lot of
walk
great,
down the street.
A lot of
You
great
can't do it now.
restaurants on the cheap. And like you said, yeah, a little hole in the wall, Tex-Mex spot that was on point.
Yeah.
But now they can't afford the property taxes, so they decided to close down. Yeah, I mean that is a part of it. But now to Harge's point, the culture now is it's still a great culture in Austin. It is a more commercial corporate culture though.
Absolutely.
Right? People think like the South by Southwest and ACL are the best parts of Austin culture. We're like, no, that's just the commercial part of Austin culture that national that makes national headlines.
Yep.
But that's not the best part of Austin culture. But that has been replaced. So you can't have it both ways. People keep moving to Austin. That has made Austin one of the best cities to get a job in America. In terms of the economics in this town, the commerce in this town, tech boom.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a music town, movie town, food town, foodie. It's got all that. So it's great for the economics, great for the finances, terrible for traffic, and terrible for affordability if you're actually trying to. There's no such thing as a starter home anymore. That's
No.
your damn house. You're going to be in there till you die.
Yeah. We ain't moving. Quit asking me if we're going to move. No, we ain't moving.
Well, at least you're moving in Austin. So, yeah, there's downsides to it and that's upsides to it. I still think Austin is, I'd rather live in Austin than Houston or Dallas, and I'm from Houston.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Houston, Dallas have the exact same problems we have, except they've had them for a lot longer. We're just figuring out how to deal with them now.
The big city problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, the big metropolitan city issues. Yeah, no doubt. All right, so there you go. That's Austinites complaining about people moving to their town. First world problems here in Austin we do
Just stop turning up the lights at bars. Come on, man. I want a cheap beer, a cheap shot of whiskey, and some darkness to drink in silence with. And y'all keep moving in and putting the bright lights over my bars.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah. Someone says here, Texas, stop calling Austin the live music capital of the world living in the past. Is it? Is that now not a thing as much?
It's never been a thing. It's always been a slogan given by the government to try and steal money from musicians. Wow. It has always been the government. And look, the government's trying to do stuff now because they have more money now, so they're trying to give back a little points. But it's still a little late for a lot of it, and it's highly politicized. The music scene is now.
There you go. That's somebody in the know. There you go. All right, we'll come back. We'll pay homage to VY. VY celebrating a birthday day. We'll give all of our kind of VY takes here on the show. Then we'll do NBA playoff review, talking about Jimmy as well, and we'll also talk about a lifetime Longhorn who's climbing the ranks of the coaching ladders in the NBA. All that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie. 104.9 The Horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a new Theme Thursday edition of Ball Don't Lie. That's when Patrick plays jams. They're supposed to provide clues and hints to Harj and I that lead us to the new theme of the day. And today's theme, it's all about number one, all about numero uno, because the Spurs, they won the day in the NBA draft lottery yesterday by getting the number one overall pick in NBA draft lottery, which means I'm watching them right now. Wemby. I'm watching on TV right now. They'll get Wembanyama when the NBA draft rolls around. So to the victor, go the spoils. San Antonio Spurs. Hey, okay, are they going to build it? They got to build a new arena now. Why don't they start that now?
He is going to help build that.
Yeah.
I mean, let's put this. The news has only been out since Tuesday night.
I know.
So
but
give them a little bit, but I feel like this is where
Right?
it's starting. They are opening up. They'd already worked on a new facility.
For
It's going to
training.
be the number one training facility in the NBA.
Yep.
That opens this season.
Okay, yeah.
So he's coming into the newest, best facility there, and now you just got to work on getting the new building in.
This honestly, if there was any opposition to it within the community,
Yeah.
it should now be removed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
now
like,
you're
guys,
like, okay, guys, we're all good now.
This guy's gonna
Take
mean
my money.
Well, yeah.
Take my money.
Well, we just talked. You gave the stat, and I gave the stat too about the ticket offices. How they just been over. Well, I think they're close to now. It's up to 3,000 season ticket packages they've sold since they announced that they got the number one overall pick. And I do think that if somebody was doing the community impact, the economic impact numbers, I guarantee some nerd down there has already done it in government, and what he could mean for the Spurs if they actually end up building around him the right way, which the Spurs will do. I mean, you're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars in economic impact potentially.
Oh no, and I mean they said, as way back to my conspiracy theory, that if Charlotte had won it, that was the team that would have been the fix. That they lost $500 million in evaluation that by getting the second pick instead of the first pick.
I believe that.
That's the difference between a number 2 pick and the number 1 pick in this
He's
draft.
a generational talent. That's why he's
so
like
$500 million is what they said the price would have gone up if they would have got number 1.
Yeah. How much did the Rockets lose? No, I'm just joking. I know they didn't lose as much. I'm just
Never lost.
Well, also the Rockets are in
Rockets.
Houston, not Charlotte.
I know.
which is a help.
Yeah, and they're not up for sale because still just throwing it out there. Anyway,
I did they showed Nike gave out hats at the viewing of the draft lottery where Wembanyama was, and on it had the date, and then it had Wemby, and right next to Wemby, a little alien head. They're like, this is not going to be the logo, but they were like, the original logo is because LeBron said that
He's an alien.
in a league with so many unicorns, he is an alien.
Man, that'd be so cool if basically that really did kind of build as to being like his alter ego. They just started talking about him as an alien, and that would be you know what, marketing. I wouldn't doubt if they could do it. Speaking of, because I want to get into, because we're talking about Wemby anyway. We talked about this yesterday. We didn't bring it up on air. Tony Parker celebrated a birthday yesterday. That was that was weird.
Yeah.
Good birthday present.
Great birthday present.
Good birthday present.
And we played this sound audio yesterday of Wembanyama basically saying that the universe, basically, this was serendipitous. This was fate because the universe made this happen. He actually said that he made a video before the NBA draft lottery speaking this into existence, saying he wanted to go play for the Spurs. That's the team he wanted to play for. And a lot of Spurs fans believe that's because Tony Parker has been preaching the gospel, more like the propaganda, to the young buck about the culture of the Spurs and the championships of the Spurs and how that community is just built different. And that's why now he wants to be a Spur for life. Yeah, I mean, Tony Parker can't help you with the draft lottery, but he can help with mold and kind of shape the young man's perception of the Spurs, which he's done. So let me ask you this before we talk NBA here, Patrick, because Tony Parker's legacy down there in San Antonio, it's interesting, right? Because he's sandwiched in between the GOATness of Tim Duncan and really the just beloved, adored, presence of one Manu Ginobili. People just love Manu. You can argue that Manu is more adored than Tim Duncan is.
Yeah.
Adoration.
No, I saw people getting mad because when Windhorst started the interview, he said, number 1 draft picks, David Robinson and Tim Duncan, and French superstar Tony Parker and Boris Diaw, and they're like, you didn't say Manu? I was like, well, because he was referencing number 1 picks and French players, but people were mad. They're like, you got him. Hey, you mentioned those. You need to mention Manu.
So that's why I want to ask you, as a Spurs fan, does now knowing that story and now Wemby coming there and Wemby having that connection with Tony Parker, does it change his legacy now with Spurs fans? He get a little bit more street cred in retrospect now.
I think how his relationship with Wembanyama, and especially if Wembanyama stays longer, because that's the part is if Wembanyama leaves after at a certain point, then everybody goes, well, Tony couldn't keep him.
You're right,
He's gonna get blamed for it, whether it's his fault or not. So I think if he stays for a long career, has a great career, then it helps in of, oh no, this was a guy who helped mentor him, and it was a good part of it, and he's part of the legacy from there to here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, time will only tell with that. But yeah, it can't. It can only hurt it if
it
Tony
falls
Parker
apart kind of thing,
does something stupid,
which he's done before.
He has done
We've
before.
heard it before.
But I love that Tony Parker's now he's getting a lot more love than he's ever gotten before in a post Big Three championship.
Well,
run.
they also everybody knows that he's going to have to talk to Wembanyama at points and go, no, Pop did much worse to me.
Exactly.
No, Pop was meaner to me. Don't worry.
That means he likes you.
Yeah.
When he says that to you, he calls you that, he likes you. That's actually a complimentary term. There you go. So all right, we'll get back to some conversation about the NBA here because we want to talk about Miami beating Boston in Game 1. If we have time, we can preview that Lakers Nuggets game. But before we do that, Harge, you sent this to me and I was unaware of it. Royal Ivy. That's some Royal Ivy news for the Lifetime Longhorn.
Royal Ivy has been slated to take the assistant coaching job with the Houston Rockets following Ime Udoka to the Houston Rockets. I think this is a great move for him. That probably puts him as number 1 on the bench, number 1 assistant, which also puts him in line to be, boom, a head coach.
Ooh, I like that.
I love the fact that Royal is coming back to the state of Texas and getting an opportunity to do so in Houston. It means he's obviously real tight with TJ Ford. TJ Ford still lives in the city of Houston.
H-Town.
He's all about it. So this is going to be a good move for the Rockets, but a better move for Royal, I believe.
I
young talent, too.
Yes, I remember his name coming up a lot when Longhorn fans at the end of when Chris Beard went into all of his controversy. Longhorn fans bringing his name up because he has been considered a fast rising star in the coaching ranks. I love Royal Ivy. When I was on the 40 Acres, Royal Ivy, I had I had a couple of I would say interactions with Royal Ivy. Each time he was awesome. I mean, whether it was like it was like neighborhood Longhorn stuff or stuff like that. But he was fantastic, man. And you can already tell that he was an old soul back then. No surprise he ends up becoming a coach and right now is on the fast track. So congrats to Royal Ivy. And we got a texter that actually told us about another Lifetime Longhorn who is interviewing for the Bucks head coaching job, Will Weaver. And Patrick, you did some research about Will Weaver.
Yeah, because he went to Texas. He's a Texas grad, was assistant coach from 2006 to 2010 at Texas, which is when Kevin Durant was there. So some good years there under Rick Barnes. Then kind of went around Sam Houston State and then went to the NBA and stayed in the NBA for a little bit. Kind of does in NBA and some international stuff to get a little bit more head coaching experience. Doing some international stuff, but he's been with the Rockets for a few years too before he left there.
That.
So he was there for a couple of years as well. He's another interesting name to watch of somebody that, especially as you get more foreign players, there's coaches like this that are willing to go over and kind of work with some foreign guys that, when your makeup of your team has that, they'll go, all right, this is someone we should look at. So a team that is led by the Greek Freak, you may want to look at a guy that has a little bit more of a background in other areas because it may fit into what Giannis is thinking, what he wants to do offensively or defensively a little bit more.
That's a great point. Texas says, I know Will Weaver. Used to call him Weaver Time. Great guy.
Nice.
I like that text. Good text there. Okay, there you go. A couple of Lifetime Longhorns rising up the coaching ranks in the NBA. All right, gentlemen, speaking of the NBA, let's get to it. Big win last night for the Miami Heat. And guys, man, they win game ones. Or at least they have been in these playoffs. That's the third game one they've won on the road in these playoffs, guys. That is absurd, by the way.
Savage.
There's only the 5th time a team has been able to do that, to win a third game one on the road in the playoffs. That is really hard to do. But this Heat team, they're just tough. And, of course, they're led by the himself. Jimmy Butler, who's got that dog in him. He is the epitome of mental toughness and fortitude. Guys averaging damn near 32 points per game in the playoffs, guys. Damn near 7 rebounds, damn near 6 assists, over 2 steals a game on 52% shooting. And in this game, he was his usual self. 35 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, 6 steals. Gave the Michael Jordan stat earlier, but since everybody's comparing him to MJ these days, and we totally understand why, because he got that dog in him. Jimmy Butler had his second career road playoff game with 30 points, at least 5 rebounds, at least 30 points, at least 5 rebounds, and at least 5 assists, and at least 5 steals. The only other player to do that twice on the road since steals were first tracked and recorded is Michael Jordan. Also did it twice.
Jimmy is that dude. Jimmy came out and did what he was supposed to do. I want to give a shout out to Kyle Lowry as well. Kyle Lowry, like Mike Lowry. He went out there and played good basketball, 15 points, 6 of 12 from the field, and 3 of 5 from three-point land. He was somebody that we were talking about. If Jimmy can't get it truly going, who is going to help in this? We talked about Bam Adebayo. He had 20 points. Vincent coming off, starting in the lineup, but he came out and just started shooting darts from all over the place. This entire team, and even Kevin Love gave him 8 points. Kevin Love being able to contribute. This is a guy that pretty much we thought his career was over, really. And now he's got a chance to play for the Miami Heat. Just guys that are out there doing their roles and making the most of it. But, yeah, the guy is Jimmy. And as he goes, this team goes 9 of 10 from the free throw line. That is clutch time. When you can get to the rim, get fouled, and knock down shots. He threw one shot on an inbounds play where he got fouled and he tipped it in, and they called it right away. And it was like, how did he even make that? Like, he's just doing all kinds of stuff. That's MJ, like his daddy, stunning like his daddy. So there you go.
So people are starting to believe, like, that conspiracy theory actually floating around. People are trying to connect the dots of how MJ could actually be Jimmy Butler's dad.
Have you seen their side-by-side?
I know, but
no, I'm just playing. Like, Michael's probably saying, I finally got a son that can hoop.
Hey, man, his other son is still dating. Is he still dating Scottie Pippen's ex-wife?
Hey, nothing has changed. Nothing has changed.
Larsa Pippen Jordan?
Which it could be one day. It could end up being that.
We know it's going to be Larsa Pippen, Jordan Butler.
Guys, the biggest factor in this game, or at least kind of the biggest headline away from Jimmy Butler doing what he does so often he's been doing in the playoffs, is the third quarter that really turned the tide here. Boston lost the third quarter by 21 points, but won every other quarter. They won 3 of the 4 quarters, lost the third quarter, and lost it by such a lopsided margin. They lost the game. The Heat scored 46 points on 25 possessions. That was the second most efficient quarter in the playoffs for any team. And I went back and looked at it now. After last night's games, teams are now 30-3 in this year's playoffs when they win 3 of 4 of the quarters in the game. And the Miami Heat, they are responsible for 2 of those 3 losses. They beat the Bucks on April 24th, despite losing 3 of the 4 quarters, and they beat the Celtics May 17th, of course, last night, despite losing 3 of the 4 quarters. The other game, Golden State beating the Kings April 23rd, despite losing 3 of the 4 quarters. And I've said this about, the Celtics, unfortunately, and the Celtics are a really talented team. The truth is this Celtics team is much more talented than the 8th-seeded Miami Heat, because they shocked a lot of people. We'll play that sound of Jimmy Butler talking about how they don't really give a damn that they've shocked everybody. They haven't surprised themselves because they had a lot of faith in what they could do. But you go look at this Celtics squad, and I said this earlier, man. They do have a tendency to play with their food. It's the only way I can kind of describe it. They remind me, I said it earlier, remind me of the villain in the movie that talks too much and has the long monologue or soliloquy prior to them being able to put their opponent away or whatever, push the button, pull the trigger, whatever, in that person, finish the job. They don't do that. They kind of play with their food. They let their opponent hang around, and usually it comes back to bite them. It happened in the Hawks series. I think it was Game 5 in that series against the Hawks, where they led in that game. And at one point, they led, I think it was 1-0 I think it was like 109-96 with like 6 minutes left in that game. They had every opportunity to win, and then they just collapsed. They did it in the 76ers series once where they were up and then they relaxed and just exhaled, and the Sixers came back to win that game. And here's another opportunity where, I mean, that game is it's up for grabs, and yet the Boston Celtics just seemed to relax. They didn't seem to have a sense of urgency or intensity, and Jimmy and the Heat did.
You're supposed to be finish them.
Exactly.
You didn't get a chance to finish them, and then you get beat. And then you look at the fact Jason Tatum was 9 of 17 in this game. He shot 4 times in the second half, 0 in the fourth quarter. That is why they didn't finish him. Mm-hmm. That is why they didn't get a chance to separate themselves, and that's why Hemi recognized it and was like, give me the ball. I'll take over this game, and I'll make sure that my team wins. That's embarrassing for Jason Tatum, especially if you want to be that guy and you want to walk around. And they got a billboard in Manhattan right now, in New York, Times Square. Jordan Brand took out a huge thing that says, records break when I don't. That's what it says. And now all of a sudden you can't go out there and you don't take over a game after you just went for 51. It makes 0 sense for him to not be able to take shots in the second half. Makes 0 sense, which is why your team is down. Now, to Patrick's point of what he said earlier, he's probably going to come out and take too many shots and not pass the ball and not be that guy. But as long as he takes it in the second half and is assertive and not go into a game where you don't take any shots in the fourth quarter, they'll be a lot better, period.
Yeah, I remember that. They actually won a game against the 76ers. I believe it was game 2, where he did just that. And he actually just kind of disappeared, and he disappeared to the point where Jaylen Brown and others took over the game. So it wasn't a necessity for him to take over and for him to kind of hold. And they won. I think they blew out the 76ers in that game. Mm-hmm. Remember, he was 1 of 7.
Yeah.
In that game.
Again, another he's kinda, small time.
He kind of went Casper the Friendly Ghost, and that was right after the game 1 where, like I talked about, they were kind of playing with their food. They lost game 1, and I believe they recorded the highest effective field goal percentage in a loss in NBA playoff history in that game. Mm-hmm. And it's like, they should have won that game.
They should have won that game.
They should have been up 2-0 in that series, but like I said, they play with their food. They're the villain that's giving the long monologue about, hey, confessing and giving a testimonial when they should just be pushing the button or finishing off their opponent, and yet they don't, and it always comes back to haunt them. And I think this series, you could see that playing out because there is no letdown, there is no let up in the Miami Heat.
Yeah, you're sitting there looking at him, and he's like, I've been following you all your life. I've been waiting for this moment. This is what I've been thinking about. And I just decided I was going to cut you here, and I was going to do this. And then all of a sudden, somebody comes in through the rafters, and there they are right there.
Yeah.
He was like, phew, I'm glad you just made it just in time.
Or you just let your rival escape, or your arch nemesis, whatever it is.
Yeah.
They do that time after time. And like I said, if I'm picking a team now, just watching game 1, it's crazy. But the Miami Heat seem to be the team that's playing with a sense of urgency. They're the ultimate overachiever. The Celtics are the ultimate underachiever. You go look at 8 seeds in the last 5 years. 8 seeds outside of the Miami Heat have won 10 games combined.
Yep.
In the last 5 years. And the Heat have won 9.
Unbelievable.
They've almost won as many games as all the 8 seeds combined in the playoffs the last 5 years.
No.
Just don't see 8 seeds make runs like that.
Well, and again, they were supposed to be a 7 seed, like the Lakers, but they lost that first playing game, which knocked them down to an 8 seed. So record-wise, regular season, they're a 7 seed. They got knocked down to the 8, but it ends up working out for them because they play Milwaukee, who they match up well against, catch them off guard, and knock out Milwaukee. If they play Boston in that first round, we don't know if they make that run.
No, you're right. And catching people off guard is what they do really well. Because I think with their roster, with kind of a roster of underachievers, with that roster, I think a lot of people assume there's just, when they watch film and they're doing preparation and game planning for that series versus Miami, and I don't know why, they end up, taking them for granted. Essentially, they end up discounting or dismissing this team because they don't have a lot of superstar, star talent on the roster, and missing Tyler Hero too. And yet, you gave the stat earlier, Harge, about undrafted players, how much they score.
Yep.
The Miami Heat this year, the 2023 Miami Heat have scored 520. At least they have 524 points scored by undrafted players.
Yep.
That is the third most in the last 50 years in the playoffs for a team. The 2022 Miami Heat are first, by the way. 576. That is a testament to the front office and being able to identify and develop talent and the culture they have with the Miami Heat, too.
258 points combined for the Lakers, Celtics, and Nuggets of undrafted people.
That's unbelievable.
Compared to the 524 that you see from the Miami Heat. It is unbelievable what I'm seeing by this group, the moves that they're making as far as the timing, Spoelstra being one hell of a coach that no one really talks about. No one really gives Spoelstra the credit that he deserves besides, people in the NBA circles. But when you look at it nationwide and publicly, a lot of people don't say anything about him. A lot of people don't say a lot about Spoelstra, but every year he's in it, he's around it, and he's done it. And he's a guy that started, when we say start from the bottom, he was in the film room.
Mm-hmm.
He was in the film room, and now he's leading this team to possibly a chance to be playing for a championship. Unbelievable.
Jimmy, getting back to Jimmy Butler, Jimmy Buckets, playoff Jimmy, whatever you want to call him. I love the quote from Eric Spoelstra about the team taking on Jimmy Butler's identity. He said, quote, "He is us and we are him."
Love it.
And he's right about that. They do play like Jimmy Butler. They play like a bunch of somebody. They say a bunch of guys who've been written off.
Yeah.
And a bunch of guys who feel disrespected, and they go out there and they play with a boulder on their shoulder.
Whew.
And
attitude, bro.
Tons of it.
Yep. And he lets you know right off the rip, we don't care what you think. We don't care anything about what y'all are saying about us. No. We just out here to play.
Jimmy don't care.
Jimmy don't care.
Jimmy don't give a damn.
What is his coffee? No face coffee? Big face coffee.
Big face coffee.
Yeah, big face coffee. Yeah.
Let's hear from Jimmy Butler, Jimmy Buckets, as they call him now. Here's Jimmy in the postgame.
How does this feel to you guys, what you have done so far? And if you go back all the way to that night against Chicago in the play-in, did you think then that something like this would be possible?
Damn right. I did. Damn right we did. And the best part about it is we still don't care what none of y'all think, honestly speaking. We don't care if you pick us to win. We never have. We never will. We know the group of guys we have in this locker room. We know that Coach Spo put so much confidence and belief in each and every one of us, Coach Pat as well. And so our circle's small, but this circle got so much love for one another. We pump constant confidence into everybody. And we go out there and we hoop. We play basketball the right way, knowing that we always got a chance.
Wow.
He letting you know.
Said put it on a T-shirt. Damn right I did. Damn right we did. Jimmy believes, man, and Jimmy will make you a believer.
Man,
Jimmy will make you a believer.
I'm sitting here looking at his Big Face brand online. Man, Jimmy making his money back. Whatever it may be, Jimmy making you spend a lot of money. He got this Kanye gear. He going to make you spend.
He's got his own fashion line?
Oh, yeah. His own apparel called Big Face.
Really?
Yeah, big face.
What's the what is the symbol?
It's a big face.
Is it his big face?
No, it ain't him. He's got it looks like an X as the eyes, a smiley face.
Okay.
And a big circle.
I didn't realize that. He doesn't wear a lot of it. I guess
he wore it. That was in his post-game interview.
Was he wearing it then?
That's what he was wearing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen a ton of it. There's probably restrictions on when he can wear it, too.
No, not Jimmy. Not Jimmy. Jimmy don't have rules.
Find Jimmy. They're going to find Jimmy. Jimmy don't care, though.
That's right.
All right, we come back. We'll pay homage to my man VY. He's celebrating her 39th birthday today. Also, we'll get into Pro Football Focus, showing a lot of love to several Longhorns who they're saying are some of the best returning players at their positions in college football. We'll come back and discuss all that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Austin is a beautiful city, thanks in no small part to the skilled craftsmanship of Ironworkers Local 482. They've been helping shape this great city since 1935. That's a really long time. You see the labors of their love all over this great city and iconic landmarks, exquisite landmarks like DKR Stadium and the Pennybacker Bridge. And as our city continues to grow and thrive, so do our friends at Ironworkers Local Union 482. They don't go to the office, they build it. So if you're looking for an exciting new career, become a member of Ironworkers Local 482. Accept the challenge of becoming the best version of yourself while helping shape Austin's economic development. Right now, they're hiring over 3,000 people. You heard me, right? 3,000 people right here in Central Texas for a huge project, and you can become a member of Ironworkers Local 482. I take that back. Become a valued member of Ironworkers Local 482 and take pride in the type of teamwork and craftsmanship that helps shape the future of this great city. So if you're frustrated with your work choices, or maybe you're just frustrated with trying to find a job, you can't find great work, you want something new, something fresh that will challenge you, become a member of ironworkers482.org and maximize your potential today. Just go to ironworkers482.org. That's ironworkers482.org. All right, welcome back to Raj Rant of the Day. I want to get into some Pro Football Focus articles that are giving the Longhorns a lot of love, and then we'll end it with some VY conversation. If we don't have time for the VY conversation, we'll table it, and then we'll get into it next segment. Okay, so Pro Football Focus, they're ranking different positions around the country. And they've ranked offensive tackles, they've ranked wide receivers and running backs, quarterbacks. They've gone through a lot of different positions. And in some of these rankings, the Longhorns are getting a ton of love. Let's start with offensive tackles. They have Kelvin Banks listed among their top 10 returning offensive tackles, and they got him at number 7. Got him as the number 7 overall returning tackle in all of college football. My favorite stat about Kelvin Banks, obviously he's a very young and talented player, and he's, like I said, he's got a really bright future ahead of him. It's almost hard to believe that he was just a freshman last year.
True.
Like, it really is. Like, it's
true freshman.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, exactly. You're right. I need to say true freshman because redshirt freshman doesn't do it justice. No, he's
not
a
a
true
COVID freshman. None of that.
Yeah,
true.
Should have been at should have been in prom and was here.
Yeah.
And no, he was a freak of nature. The 4 first-round defensive ends that he faced, because he ended up facing 4 of them. Will Anderson at number 3 overall. Tyree Wilson drafted number 7 overall. Will McDonald drafted number 15 overall. And Felix Anudike Uzoma drafted 31st overall, the K-State defensive lineman, who ended up being defensive player of the year. Defensive lineman of the year and player of the year, I believe. Correct. He got both. But either way, you're talking about 4 first-round defensive ends, and Kelvin Banks got a chance to face those guys. He had, I think, basically 45 reps against Bama in a pass blocking role, 29 against Iowa State, 36 against Tech, and 32 against K-State. So plenty of sample size. He allowed 0 sacks, 4 pressures, and 0 penalties combined against 4 first-round caliber talents at defensive end. Mm-hmm. So I know he's number 7, but Harsh said he's a true freshman at number 7. The guys ahead of him, I haven't looked at them, but I doubt very seriously there are many true freshmen ahead of him on this list.
I would say none.
Right?
I would say none.
I just go out the way and just guesstimate. There's probably none on the list. So that dude is way ahead of schedule. So if you're Quinn Ewers, does help to have one of the best tackles in the country watching your back. All right, so let's get to the other list. They did wide receivers as well. And I'm sure by now Longhorn fans know that Xavier Worthy is considered to be one of the top returning starters in all of college football at the wide receiver position. The Pro Football Focus rankings have him at number 4.
Yep.
They have him only behind Rome Odunze of Washington. I'm sure I screwed that name up. Did not mean to. And 2 Ohio State Buckeye receivers, Emeka Egbuka and Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah.
So, man, Ohio State's got 1 and 2 on this list.
I mean, they've had it every year.
1 and 2 on the
list. That's the other part about this. Every time you talk about top receivers, there's always an Ohio State wide receiver in the conversation.
And how many they got in the league now? Like,
they got Olave, they got Garrett Wilson, they got Smith and Jigma just went. And people had said before that Smith and Jigma was better than Garrett Wilson and Olave.
Well, they actually asked the coach, Coach Hartline, about it, and I believe, and Patrick, you saw this sound. I believe he ends up saying in the end that Marvin Harrison.
He says Marvin Harrison Jr. is the best one, and that's why he's being projected as the number 2 overall pick in some early mock drafts.
He says he's better than all the receivers that he had there. And you think about that's crazy,
ridiculous.
Yeah, they some people have him number 2. Caleb Williams 1, him 2.
Yeah. That's freakish. So Xavier Worthy though, and they point out something that we've talked about on Longhorn Blitz podcast a lot with Xavier Worthy, and this goes to Sark. And Sark's a big game hunter, always looking for the deep ball. And last year when Isaiah Nayor went down, Isaiah Nayor was supposed to be the deep threat within the offense, and when they didn't have a natural built-in deep threat, they essentially typecast and pigeonholed Xavier Worthy into being that guy.
Yeah.
And it really did wreck Xavier Worthy's productivity. They talk about he basically averaged 17.6 yards, his average depth of target. So his average depth of target last year, 17.6 yards. That ranked 7th highest in the Power 5. And his freshman year, when he had, I think we all agree, a better year, his average depth of target was 13.4 yards. And we all know Sark, that deep ball, baby. He's like Pookie from New Jack City. He needs that deep ball. He's chasing that deep ball. And oftentimes last year, he and Quinn Ewers couldn't get on the same page with the deep ball. And I think that it hurt Xavier Worthy's production, but also his role within the passing game, that he had to be force-fed the football on deep balls all the time. And this year, that won't be the case. They'll have other receivers who can fulfill those roles. It can be a young Jonte Cook out there. You can put A.D. Mitchell out there to fulfill that role. Isaiah Nayor is coming back off an injury, but you'll have guys that can fulfill the role of being a deep threat. Sark has already told us he is not, I repeat, he is not going to give up on his affinity and his obsession with the deep ball. No. He's going to throw that deep ball. We
just got to be more accurate.
Exactly. He's going to be better at it. He's going to throw that deep ball. I need that deep ball, baby. He's going to chase that deep ball.
Yeah.
And we just got to get more, obviously more efficient and more effective at completing those deep balls. But at least this year, Xavier Worthy won't be typecast as the deep guy.
Right.
And last year he was, and I think we all saw how that turned out. That was serious regression there.
I like the fact that you said typecast.
He
I like
was.
that.
Like, he was a deep ball guy, and it's like, that's not Xavier Worthy. He's a better all-around receiver than that. CB says the receivers regressed last year, probably the only position group to regress. That actually is true. I've admitted that too. I think it probably is the only position group to regress. And I like me some Brennan Marion, but I'll still be frank and honest about that. The other position group that got some love from the rankings from Pro Football Focus was the tight ends.
Yeah.
They got J.T. Sanders on their top 10 returning tight ends list. They got J.T. Sanders as number 3. As the number 3 returning tight end in college football. I might go a little bit deeper in on this tomorrow because I've been doing some work about the tight end position. But listen, the tight end position here at Texas, and Longhorn fans know this all too well, it has been an endangered species for the most part here at Texas. Going back to David Thomas and Jermichael Finley and Bo Skis, those were the times we were actually producing NFL caliber tight ends. I'm saying 5-tool tight ends. Now, you have produced some NFL tight ends, but they haven't really been 5-tool tight ends. They've been role-specific tight ends, situational guys that can block, guys you have to develop into being a tight end like a Tyrone Swoops. No, J.T. Sanders is the real deal. We're talking about a 5-tool tight end, and he has a chance, I said this before, he has a chance to go down statistically as the greatest tight end in the history of Texas football.
I like that.
No, the Texas record for most TDs in a single season by a tight end, Pat Fitzgerald with 8. I think he can do that. Right? David Thomas owns the record for the most catches for a tight end in a single game, and that's 10, I think. And in a career, it's 98. But J.T. Sanders, 54 receptions. That's the most by a tight end in a single season in program history, so he's got that record. He had 613 yards last year. That was second all-time in a single season for a tight end. He had 5 touchdowns. Hell, the record is 8. So it's third all-time for a tight end in a single season. He was first-team All-Big 12. It's the most receiving yards in a single season for a tight end belonged to William Harris. It's 637. Dude, he was at 613. Most receiving, right? Most receiving yards in a game for a tight end, 149 by Jermichael Finley. Honestly, I think he can have that in a game. He probably was pretty close in a couple of games. I didn't really look at it. Most receiving yards in a career for a tight end, 1,367. I think he actually has a chance to catch that this year, because all he has to do is get another kind of 600 receiving yard season, and he's going to catch David Thomas. Most receiving touchdowns in a career by a tight end, 15. Might take him. He might need a real big season touchdown wise to do that. Most receiving touchdowns in a game by a tight end, 3 by DJ Grant. He's got a chance, honestly, to break all those, or at least a lot of those.
I think so too. I think it was the point of emphasis last year that where Texas got away from it. He should have been a more important part of the game plan every single week. It would be times where they would wait too long to get him involved, and he would kind of step away from the game, so to speak. But if you go right after him and you get him involved right from the rip, he's one of your most effective players because he'll block even more. He'll get downfield. He'll get open, and he'll make plays. I remember at the very beginning of the season, it was like he was the most featured player on the team, and then they went away from it because they were using him as short yardage in the goal line. They were trying to throw alley-oops to him. So I think it's going to be important to get him involved in games earlier than what they did before.
Yeah, I would even say you can run the passing game through him. You can feature him in the passing game rather than Xavier Worthy. Not that Xavier Worthy is going to get less targets, but you would feature him like you would feature and force feed the football to Xavier Worthy. But with JT Sanders, you're going to get favorable matchups because they're going to put a safety on him. They're going to put a nickel back on him, sometimes even a linebacker on him. And like I said, it's the tight end position has been an endangered species on the 40 acres. And remember, Sark has said it's the second most important position in his offense behind quarterback.
Yep.
So he understands how pivotal it is. And I remember I referenced this earlier this year, but there was an article I read about basically the gray wolf, which was an endangered species at one time, and how they introduced it or reintroduced it into Yellowstone Park. And I'll save you all the details of everything. But essentially, what they realized was without the wolves, after they reintroduced the wolves, the entire ecosystem changed. Without the wolves, the coyotes kind of ran rampant. They took over every damn thing. Elk population exploded because nobody was hunting the damn elk. Overgrazing on the willows and the aspens. And without the trees and everything, because obviously these elks they're overgrazing, the songbirds declined and died. And beavers, because they didn't have access to all the willows and aspens, they couldn't build their dams, and their riverbeds eroded because they didn't have the dams that could kind of regulate like the water and everything. And without the beaver dams and the shade from the beaver dams, the water temperatures rose and got higher too because it would cool off the water. Yep. They found out all this because they didn't have wolves in Yellowstone Park. And to me, that's the effect of a tight end within an offense. Right, I think we've seen the decay and deterioration of the Texas offensive identity over the years without a real tight end. And I think now that a real tight end has been introduced back into the offense, we're going to see the offense flourish and thrive in a way that it hadn't for years, going all the way back to Jermichael Finley and David Thomas and Bo Scaife, because the tight end, in my opinion, as an endangered species, it is a species that has a huge butterfly effect on every other part of the offense and everybody else's role within the offense. I said I'd talk VY. We'll do that next segment right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104 Down the Horn. Patrick is still celebrating. He's still on a high after the Spurs won the NBA draft lottery. They get the number 1 overall pick, and it's a foregone conclusion. They're going to pick Victor Wembanyama. So new theme of the day is number 1. These songs are referenced number 1, numero uno, because the Spurs got the number 1 overall pick. And our resident Spurs fan, Patrick, here, he's turning it into a 48-hour celebration. Like women celebrate their birthdays. He's going to celebrate the NBA draft lottery
The
for the rest of the week.
entire month. The entire month.
we're going
It's
the
my
rest.
birthday month, dog.
Yeah. No, we're rolling in. My birthday's a week away. I'm going to roll it straight into that.
Oh,
We can
really?
keep it rolling, yeah.
Oh, man, you're right. He's going to
Yeah,
home
he going the whole
Oh,
month.
yeah. This Memorial Day weekend, we're going to have a good old time celebrating it.
Yeah, so you're right. San Antonio's going to be celebrating until the draft. And then after he's drafted, they're going to celebrate for another few months until the season. So, yeah.
Oh, we could be celebrating the season starts, too.
Oh, I
love
know.
it.
No, I already get it. Trust
Love
me. I mean, I can't wait to watch Wembanyama either. I'm excited. I'm excited for Spurs fans, even though as a Rockets fan, hurts my heart a little bit. Something else that hurts my heart a little bit is honestly thinking about VY. Hurts my heart a little bit, man, because it harkens back to the great days of Texas football when VY was roaming the 40 acres and winning championships. And VY is celebrating a birthday today. 39 years old, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
I thought it was
40.
40. It's 40.
Is it 40?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Wikipedia says 39. I would
Supposed to be today, 40.
Okay.
That's what everybody's been talking about.
Has
They've
everybody
been
talking about that? Has everybody looked at it? Has everybody done the math, or are we just assuming because we heard somebody
I can
say
tell
it?
you, as I am turning 39 in 1 week, and he is born a year before me.
Okay, so
he
he's
will be 40.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Okay, so happy B-Day to my man VY. My take about Vince Young has always been, aside from obviously his greatness on the field here at Texas, and by the way, you got to give a lot of props to Greg Davis, because Greg Davis could have been stubborn about the way he utilized VY. I think at one point Greg Davis decided to let go and let God with VY and just put him into a really simple offense, zone read and read option, and let his skill take over. So I'll give him a ton of props for that. I always thought that VY was at one point probably one of the most miserable people to be watching NFL football. And the reason I say that is because the NFL game turned into the perfect ecosystem for him like 8 years later. Right? Like 8 years later, the NFL decided, you know what? We don't need a specific type of quarterback to play quarterback. The quarterback position can look very different. We are willing to recognize that there are many ways to skin a catfish, all right? And that no matter your height or your style of play or being a mobile quarterback, those are not data points that should be considered a negative thing in your skill set. As a matter of fact, sometimes those things can end up being a unique advantage in your skill set. And now you're seeing coaches think outside the box. You're seeing a lot of coaches have the mentality that if your offense isn't quarterback friendly, then you need a new offense. They love to say that now. Lincoln Riley would say that a ton. And now you're seeing NFL offenses, and we used to have we used to have NFL offenses and college football offenses. You don't have that anymore.
Right.
Now you just have offenses. The NFL offenses are running college plays. Andy Reid says the college game is 5 years ahead of the NFL game, and the NFL is going down to the college level, and you see a lot of these concepts trickling up to the NFL. And a lot of the things that, were popularized at the college level are now trickling up, and they're running at the NFL level. Jalen Hurts, 8 years ago, Jalen Hurts probably ain't even playing quarterback in the league. They probably try to switch him to something else, or he's just a utility player.
Yeah.
But because in like a 10-year span, the NFL evolved exponentially. It really did. And especially when it came to the quarterback position, you see now teams deciding that they can approach the quarterback position with a lot more, basically with a lot wider lens, if you will. Yep. And they used to be very narrow about who could play the quarterback, what type of skill set could play the quarterback position, how tall you had to be, your hand size had to be this hand size, you had to have this many snaps in college, you had to come from this type of an offense, and now all of those data points have pretty much been smashed to smithereens, and people are realizing that it's not a science developing and evaluating the quarterback. It's much more of an art form.
Right.
And in this day and age of VY, he would have been more, I would think he would have been given more of the benefit of the doubt within an offense, and they would have structured that offense around him rather than trying to put that square peg into that round hole constantly.
I bring that up a lot because you start looking around the league and around different times, and you say, all right, what would he have done if he'd have been in this era? We talked about it when we were talking about Eric Metcalf.
Yep.
When Eric Metcalf was before his time.
Yep.
They couldn't use him properly because they didn't know how to use him properly. Now, as time has gone on, and you're right, VY was the guy that you let him go out there and just play ball, you're going to have a great time. But then you try to change the way he goes about it. I mean, Mac Brown went through it with him. Mac Brown had to just let go a little bit and let VY go do his thing because that would get him loose as well as the team. And then you get into the NFL, you go to a place where a coach don't want you, and they don't try to adhere to what makes you great. I've always talked about that when it comes to coaching. The biggest thing for me as a coach is adjusting to what your player's strengths are, not making him adjust to what you like to call. Find out what he's good at and make the most of it because obviously it was good enough for you to recruit him. So why are you going to try to make him be something that he's not? And that was one of the biggest things for me when you look at VY. I thought for sure that VY was going to take over the NFL, almost like a Michael Vick did when Michael Vick got to the league and how explosive he was and how he changed the way people were looking at players. But if he goes somewhere else, he probably has a different career.
Yeah, I think if he goes to a team that actually is willing to build around him,
right.
Because the ownership and the head coach wanted two different things in Tennessee.
Yep.
Ownership wanted VY, and Jeff Fisher did not, and the offensive coordinator did not.
Norm Chow.
Yes, he ended up in a very compromising position. But VY is still 31-19 as a starter in the NFL, which means he has a 62% winning percentage. If you're going to look at quarterbacks who have started at least 50 games, he's still probably top 40. In top 40 in win percentage. The man won a lot of games in spite of coaches not wanting to invest in him and go all in around VY. Okay, we'll come back, talk a little bit more VY when we get a chance. Your specs text line comments, we'll get to those as well. Come back and wrap it up and put it in the oven. We're off at 6:15 for Texas Baseball right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. New theme Thursday. That's when Patrick plays jams. That's supposed to give us clues and hints, little breadcrumbs that leads Harge and I to the new theme of the day. And the new theme of the day, all about being first. Numero uno, just like the San Antonio Spurs are in the NBA upcoming draft because they won the draft lottery, which they have done 3 different times. They've been in the draft lottery 6 times, and they've won the damn thing 3 times. So 50% of the time, it works every time. So,
yeah, and I had to go with this one to end it, because it is by a guy with 1 in his name, and the song is number 1 in it, too.
Wow.
Yeah,
KRS-One?
KRS-One.
Well done.
I'm still number 1.
Well done. It's good stuff there.
You already know.
I don't even know if we've ever played KRS-One on the show.
I don't think we have.
I don't think we have. I think we've been keeping up with this stuff. I don't think we have at all. So there you go. Kudos for the first time KRS-One has been on the show like that. We're just talking about, we don't have a ton of time here, so we'll just preview Texas, West Virginia coming up next. We're just talking about VY. Shout out to my man VY. Happy birthday. I knew VY, though, real quick, a long time before most people listening because I'm from H-Town. So he's from Hiram Clark. I'm from South Park. They're basically kind of neighboring communities. I can help him walk to Hiram Clark. I dated lots of women from Hiram Clark. Nobody related to VY. But they want VY to think something happened in there. But anyway, I knew VY back in the day.
Said I dated lots of women.
From Hiram Clark. Hiram Clark has some honeys, man. But anyway, VY was known for being kind of a basketball star in H-Town when he was younger. Everybody talks about him as being a basketball star. And I played at Houston Lamar, DB High. We were in the same district with Madison.
Okay.
And 17-5A back in the day, so I know it's something different now. So I remember watching a young VY with Madison, like going out to go see them, like in their like freshman squad and stuff like that. Just because, and then going back to watch him versus Lamar, like when I was actually at Texas. Oh no, man, he was a freak. Like, he really was a freak of nature on the football field. And I think he was ahead of his time. Like I said, the game wasn't really ready for VY. And then once he went into the league, was that 2006 was his rookie year? 2006, that rookie year for him?
Yeah.
Think about, basically, Cam Newton comes along like 2011. Right, 2011, something like that, 2010, Cam Newton comes out. And then RG3 comes along like 2012. And right then, that's when, and give my boy Kyle Shanahan some credit, because Kyle Shanahan and Mike Shanahan, they went down to Baylor and took the Art Browse playbook. Remember, Art Browse famously didn't have a playbook, didn't have a physical one. He said, you got to come down here, you got to get it out of my damn head. All right, you want my plays? They want his plays. They want to say, hey, we're going to just take your offense. We're going to run our version of it in the NFL. They had to go down to Baylor and go get the plays from Art Browse on how to utilize RG3, and they took all those college concepts right to the NFL. Cam Newton was already running them because he was running them with Carolina because they wanted to use the same concepts that Cam Newton was weaponized with at Auburn. So all those concepts were now trickling up to the NFL and being spread across the league everywhere. And NFL coaches were realizing there are different ways to play the quarterback position. Yes, there are. And the NFL has long been really dogmatic about measurables and trying to turn the quarterback position into a science they can evaluate, right? They can replicate over and over again. Hand size, his height, he throws the ball this hard, all of a sudden. And we know, no, it's not that. It's not a science. It's not even an inexact science. It's an art form. And I remember when it started to shift right around that time when those 3 guys got into the NFL. It was Cam Newton, it was RG3, and around that time, the NFL started to look at the quarterback position differently. And now, it basically, even with Baker Mayfield coming in, all that kind of stuff, they had never drafted a quarterback number 1 overall who was that short and a former walk-on. They would never draft a guy, a former walk-on, as a number 1 pick in the draft, but they started to look at the quarterback position through a different lens. And they started to value different data points. And if VY would have been in, like I said, 5-6 years later, a different team would have drafted him with a different coach who wanted to weaponize him with the same concepts that Greg Davis was using, similar concepts at the NFL. And I'm not saying he would have been a Hall of Fame or anything, but he would have had a much more successful NFL and fruitful NFL career. No question. He just came along 5 years too early, man.
Yep.
He was born 5 years too early, pretty much.
The league had changed a little bit too late for VY. But I don't want to take away from our man VY, but I got breaking news.
Bad breaking or good breaking?
Our man Jeff Howe, you can hear him on Light the Tower. He just posted that Texas basketball guard Tyrese Hunter is coming back to the University of Texas for his 23-24 season. The Rising
Good news.
Jr. just posted a video and a graphic on his Instagram account confirming that he'll be back for his second season with Rodney Terry and the Texas Longhorns.
I love to end the
Good
show on a
stuff.
good note.
There it is.
That's fantastic.
There
Hey,
it is.
Texas baseball, use that good mojo we
Bring
just
it,
got from
baby.
Texas basketball, and Texas baseball can keep it going.
Let's
all right.
do it.
What's on tap for you, brother? I already know.
I got all baseball, basketball.
There you go. He's a busy man. What's on tap for you, Patrick?
You know, watching some basketball.
There you go. Tonight, you will have the Lakers versus Nuggets. So watching that game. We'll come back tomorrow and talk about it all. Hopefully, talking about a Texas baseball victory. That's what's coming up next. Remember, the revolution will not be televised. We'll talk about it right here on Ball Don't Lie. We love you guys. We mean that. Take care of yourselves, but more importantly, take care of each other. Craig Way, the voice of the Longhorns, coming up next, calling the call for Texas baseball.